Hello, everybody.
What's
Uh,
up?
welcome back to the Double D Estrogen Power Hour. It's been a minute. It's been a
Has
long.
been.
So I think it's only fair that we absolutely introduce ourselves. We're jumping right into it, like I think we did the last time, and then 40 minutes later, it was like, oh shit, we never said who we are.
Yeah,
Problem.
who we are, what we do, why we're here.
Yeah. Meh,
Minor details.
minor details. Absolutely. Well, my name is D-Bag. I am one of your hosts for the Double D Estrogen Power Hour. I am joined by the ever incomparable Danger Water over here. We host the show every Tuesday, usually around 6 Eastern, 5 Central. Sometimes that changes, you know.
Okay.
But we just kind of like talk about our lives and shit that's interesting to us, and then we do some Am I the Asshole or other Reddit-based, and then play a fun game. And then talk about our femme fatale for the week. So that's kind of what's on the agenda for today. Um, I guess we do also have to start with an apology because we've missed the last couple of weeks. I believe all of that is my fault.
No, the first one was my fault because I was
Okay.
out of town. Remember?
Oh, that's
I'll
right.
take
Okay,
the
so the
blame
first
for
one
that.
was Danger's fault. She was out of town. The second one
100%
was
my
my
fault.
fault. Because I wasn't out of town yet, but I was preparing to be out of town, and I had an early ass flight the next morning and just
Yeah.
could not
And you had to be up at
do
like
it.
what, 4:30 or something?
Yeah, my alarms are going off at 4 in the morning. So, and I still
Oh,
had like yet to pack as of the time we're supposed to be doing this.
right.
So I was like, I need to like do laundry. I need to do my dishes before I leave for several days. And thank God I did,
Right.
because that ended up being a goddamn nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah.
For those of you who aren't in our Discord, I got trapped in Salt Lake City,
Of
um,
all places
of all fucking
to get.
places. It was Oh, I wonder, sorry, my brain just went down a tangent. I'll explain that in a second. Yeah, I was supposed to be back here like Saturday night, and I got to the airport at like 4 Salt Lake time. And they kept moving our flight back like by an hour or 2 hours or whatever. They moved it back 6 times because they were having such a problem with the snowstorms coming through that the pilots kept changing. So like we literally saw pilots walk onto our plane, turn around, and walk back off. And I was
Yeah,
like,
that was
"You're fucking
so
shitting me."
I was, like, trying to follow along as much as I could with all of it.
Yeah.
Um, did they ever, like, tell you why somebody just, like, bailed or,
We
like
have no idea why the first pilot didn't show up. We were just told like, "Hey, he's not coming, so we're trying to find somebody else." So they pushed it back, and then they did find somebody else, and then he got delayed while in the air because of the storms.
right,
So then by the time like he was getting ready to land, the pilot who had been here all along was like, "I just got reassigned to fly out to fucking Boise, Idaho, so see you later." And we were like, "Okay. Oh, great." So then
Jesus
they're
Christ.
like in the process of reassigning them, and we see the guy like walk onto our plane, and then like 20 minutes later, it's like, "Oh yeah, he's being reassigned as well." And then they were like,
Oh,
"Oh, and
so
now
they were,
there's a
like,
problem with the flight crew because
so strange.
it's been too long of a day for them already, so now we have to find you a new flight crew." Like it was just a whole mess. So eventually they're like, "You know what? Just come back tomorrow morning. Just come back tomorrow. We'll put you guys up in a hotel." And I mean, Delta was great about it. They paid for our hotel, and they paid for us to get like an Uber to and from the airport, like to the hotel and then back to the airport the next day, which was nice. They also gave us a $30 meal voucher.
Which is
Um,
nice.
it is.
And
And
a
then they gave
lift,
us,
right?
yeah,
Like the car? Yeah.
yeah. So that all worked out, but it was just exhausting because like we couldn't get any of our checked bags because they're like, it'll take you 4 hours to get your checked bag. So like, don't do it because
Which
that's
was so
like,
yeah, you had to
which I don't
what,
know
like,
how they
sleep in
do
whatever you
that.
had on your body?
Oh my God. No, I literally washed my pants and my underwear and stuff in the sink. Like took the bar of soap and I'm like scrubbing it in the sink and then had
Oh.
like the hair dryer and I'm like holding it up as close as I can to the pants without catching them on fire to try and dry them. It
Yeah,
was,
I would've been like, "No, y'all get smelly me."
but like that's the
That's
thing is that all of my deodorant and stuff was in my checked
yeah.
bag because I wasn't expecting to need it, right? I'd already put it on
Right.
for that day, put it in the check bag,
Right, yeah, yeah.
whatever. So I like all of us, I'm sure, were not smelling great. And then we had a bunch of fucking kids on the plane ride home, a couple of which clearly shit themselves in the middle of the flight. And so they're changing like diapers in the middle of the plane, not even going to the bathroom, just changing them
What?
in their seats, which I was like,
Oh, that's so nasty.
and then we had some turbulence when we were coming into land, and one kid just lost, threw up everywhere, all over like the seats. They were in the middle seat, so it went on all 3 seats. So that was really fun. That was like 5 rows
Gross.
ahead of me. It was just an adventure. It was an adventure. And then I got to go come home and get back to work. So,
Oh, thank God, Fen is here.
oh, you're so worried, Fen.
They would give
They
you
gave you
guys
a
a
15
fucking
passenger
private
private jet.
jet.
That'd be fucking nice. We did not get that. We did not get that at all.
Yeah,
But yeah. So now I'm
but
home. And then,
well,
yeah,
I'm glad you're home
thank you.
safe. I was thinking about that at, like, 3 in the morning, too. I was like, "Oh, I should have made sure she got home okay." But I didn't dare, like, message you then because hopefully you were sleeping, unlike my brain that wouldn't
Yeah.
shut off.
Oh,
So yeah, when I was down on my vacation, I do have to just show you guys this. I found this at the thrift store, and I don't know. Okay,
a snacksident.
snacksident. Eating
I
a whole
love that.
pizza or an entire bag of chips accidentally, or entirely by mistake. Snack.
I love that. Is that like a little
I'm
mini
like, it's
cutting
a
board?
cute little like mini cutting board, you know. So I found
Super
that. It was
cute.
like $2. It had to come home with me. Um,
Yeah.
that was a must. And I don't know if producer saw my message, but maybe. Uh, he can look at that and answer it before I go into my other story.
Yeah. I think he is busy typing in our chat. What's up,
Probably.
Zach? Good to see you. Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
now I
no,
get to
that
be
makes
in
sense.
my natural environment again, versus me
Right.
coming from the murder room when I joined community game night for like all of 5 minutes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It did. I like that the next trip that you have, you're like, we'll have to do a vibe check before
Yeah.
you like spend the night. But it did. It
Yeah.
looked like it looked like bloodstains on the wall. Very
It didn't
funny.
look that bad like in real life, but on screen
Yeah.
it definitely looked
Yeah,
more
it
murdery.
was the way the colors played off the camera. It just looked
Yeah.
awful. Like not it didn't look awful, but it gave
Right.
the presentation.
Well, and then I
But
also like so I was running the game on my laptop because all I had is like my little mini like work laptop with me.
right,
So then I was like running my audio and video through my phone, which I had propped up on the coffee maker. And then on top of the coffee maker was like my moisturizer and something else so that I could have it so it rested against the lampshade that was behind the coffee maker.
right.
It was a setup. But you know what? I got it working. I got it
Hey,
working, and that's all that matters.
that's all that matters. That's all that
Yeah.
matters. It would have been nice if it at least you were somewhere warm too, like as great as it could have been like would have
It was
been.
freezing cold because
Was it?
I flew in during the middle of a snowstorm on Wednesday. So first of all, I had to
Oh
circle the
yeah, I
runway for
suppose so you
45, 50
followed the
minutes.
snow all the way back to the East Coast, didn't
I
you?
did, yeah.
Basically.
It when I was gone, it was fucking 80 degrees here.
Yeah.
I missed out on 80 degree weather. I was
It,
in like 27-degree weather the entire time. I was so
it was like
pissed. I was like, "Are you
almost
kidding me?"
50 today, which is about the temperature it was when I was on vacation, which was phenomenal. And then we had a thunderstorm, and then it snowed like 6 inches
Yeah,
the day before I came home. So it's like, well, this sucks, but whatever. Um,
be
but
worse.
no, so I conquered a fear. Yeah, I would rather be
27
too
is
cold than
better
too
than
hot.
80. 80 is not that
Like,
hot though.
I thought Dave turned the air conditioner down in the hotel room. And apparently it was just preset at 60 degrees, but like he's sitting there going, oh, she's going to come in and tell me to turn it up, whatever. And I walked in, I was like, oh, thanks for turning it down. Because I would always rather be too cold than too hot. Always.
Yeah,
You can always add more layers.
that's true.
All right. Well, apparently I'm going to go into my next story. So I conquered a fear. As you can see by my face, I'm not a snake person. I don't like snakes. I've never in my life held a snake before. This is Creamsicle. She is my cousin's albino corn snake. And I held her for the first time ever. It is a danger noodle. It's a nope
Mhm.
rope in my books. But so
Yeah.
I hold her first time ever, like conquering my fear, and she promptly fucking bites me in the arm.
Oh
And, oh,
no.
oh, it's not going to show up very well on camera, is it? Um, but like, apparently snakes have like teeth on the roof of their mouth too, because you can
Uh-huh.
like see. I'll have to see if I can get a picture of it with better lighting, so you can see.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I went from this to promptly getting bitten in the arm. Yeah. And my cousin felt so bad. Like,
Yeah.
she was like,
I
oh,
bet.
I'm so sorry. She's only ever bitten like my cousin, and that was once when she was young
Right.
during feeding time. And my cousin Katrina was like, oh, well, maybe she had just shed. So I guess apparently with snakes, when they shed their skin, occasionally when it's tough coming off, it can like feel to them like a blister that's
Mm,
popped for us. So she's like,
okay.
I shouldn't have let you hold her because she had just shed. And, I'm sure like you just touched a spot, like not knowing. And I was like, no, yeah. But yeah, she felt super bad. It drew blood.
Oh my
And
gosh.
but I was proud of myself. I didn't throw the snake. I
That I would have thrown it.
yelped.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my big fear, like I had my cousin come sit right next to me, like kneel on the floor, because my fear was that I get too scared and drop the snake, and I didn't want to do that to their pet.
Right.
So she was right next to me, but I didn't drop it. I didn't throw it. I yelped a little bit. I think I scared the snake as much as she scared me when I screamed.
Yeah, fair,
And
fair.
but yeah, she kind of looked at me like, I didn't mean to do that. But so that
Oh,
was
man.
my drop kick it off a cliff. Yeah, yeah. She has so my cousin's crazy, in my opinion. She's awesome, but she has like 8 snakes in their house.
Holy shit, that's a lot of snakes.
It is a lot of
That's, like, a
snakes.
lot of snakes.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
And like for a while, she was helping a rescue. Um, they had a bunch of babies that needed like basically she was
Mhm.
fostering snakes. That makes no sense to me. Burn them in a fiery pit. I don't care. No,
Right.
that's rude. I like animals. I just fewer snakes in the world, I'm okay with. But yeah, they're a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. But yeah, occasionally I'll just look at it and be like, of course, the one time that I get brave enough. It's
I don't know if I've ever held a snake. I was just thinking about that.
like
Um,
touch. She has a little. They're called hog nose, and they've got like little. They look like little piglets.
yeah.
But their nose is because they burrow in the ground, so it's
Right.
shaped like a shovel. And I've touched him and Creamsicle before,
Right.
um, but they're both huge. But that was part of like I wanted to hold Creamsicle before she got any bigger, because she
Yeah.
already is like 1,000 times bigger than she was. Because they got her and
Okay.
she was like this big. I mean, she was tiny, tight.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and at least the bigger they get, the little bit more like slow they are, I guess.
Okay.
Um, but it was also like for those of you that are curious, because this helped my like fear a little bit. Was once Katrina was like, "Well, now at least you know what it feels like to be bit by a snake."
True,
True,
true.
and it's like 1,000 like tattoo needles hitting you all at once is basically what it felt like
Oh my
to
god.
me. So being that I have 2 tattoos, and
Yeah.
as much as it's like typically one needle stabbing 1,000 times, it's just felt like 1,000 needles all at once.
Oof.
But yeah, so got brave and then got more scared. Uh,
Well,
won't ever probably do it again, and that's okay with me.
you did it once. You know what? That's
I
enough.
did it once. I did it once, and that's.
Yeah.
But and even like as sappy as it probably sounds, because it is like but hearing Matt, my son, tell me, he's like, "I'm proud of you, mom." I was like,
Oh,
"Thanks, baby."
I love that.
Mind you, there's a 9-year-old, my other cousin's kid was there holding her like it was nothing and feeding her all they get frozen mice that are bred just to be
Yeah.
food, basically.
Right.
That they have to thaw out. So he was like thawing them and feeding them with the tweezers and stuff. But like, it's still, I've seen her feed several times, and it still like never ceases to like make me jump when they strike the
Yeah.
mouse to eat it. And I'm like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it.
Uh, but yeah, that was my super exciting weekend. Uh, Other than that, yeah, it's just been like getting back to work since being on
Yeah.
vacation, planning my next vacation. Joys of long distance relationships, but it works.
I was surprised while I was in Salt Lake at the amount of like the amount of sex I saw there because as I'm coming into Salt Lake
Yeah.
City to my hotel, I saw a sex shop called Mischievous and it had like a big old sign on it that said like love yourself and love is for everyone and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
was like, great. And then like right down like, a building over was a thing called Horny Construction. And I was like, okay, this is not what I had
Horny.
pictured for yeah, it's
Interesting.
HORNE, so I'm sure it's horn, but Horny Construction right next to an adult sex shop. I was like, okay.
That's
And
awesome.
then
So that's
I'm
just where
standing
they
in
make
Star
the toys,
it must
clearly,
be,
right?
clearly. It's Santa's
With a
Elf,
name like
workshop is not too far down the road, yeah.
right, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
Like a
then
doctor
I'm
named
standing
Dr.
in
Payne.
the Starbucks with my coworker, and he, like, grabs one of the free newspapers that they had, and he opens it up, and the very first article we see is about drinkable dildos. And he and I both look at each other and we're like,
Where
I
are
don't
they?
I
their
don't
arm
think
now.
that is
Yeah.
a thing that you can do currently with those. So, I was like, "You're gonna have to read it and give me a report back on it."
Yeah.
He never did. I'll have to message him about it and see what it was. But I was like, "Damn, this is a lot of sex for a Mormon town." You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
surprised. I was
Yeah.
very surprised.
And for those of you that don't know, I was baptized Mormon when I was 19 and then promptly left the church um, for my own reasons. But there's definitely there's some fucked up shit going on. And of course, not everyone in Salt Lake is Mormon, and you get,
No,
the
no.
tourists and stuff, but the majority of them, or they
Yeah.
at least once were. Um,
It's a lot of transplants because, like, all the
yeah,
Uber and Lyft drivers I had were like, "Oh, yeah, I just moved out here, 5, 8 years ago from the East Coast." And I was like, "Wow, that's fucking weird."
yeah. I just tried Googling it, and I'm not gonna look further than that, but nothing comes up.
I'll have to see if he kept it, or if he remembers what newspaper it was in so we can find, like, the online version. And maybe we'll do a special read aloud or something
Yeah,
in the
I'd be
Discord.
down for that. That would be funny.
Yeah. But yeah, it was something about drinking dildos. I was very surprised to see that be like, you open up the newspaper and bam, right there.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That is very,
Yeah.
very interesting.
And you know what
Especially
else surprised me?
in Salt Lake. Like that does surprise me in
Yeah,
Salt Lake.
me too. What surprised me the most is that at Starbucks, they still had pumpkin spice.
Oh, there you
So
go.
this bitch got herself a pumpkin spice latte because, of course,
Right?
have to.
Um, but yeah, they
Yeah.
Shamrock shakes are back too. That just reminded me.
Really?
Haven't gotten
I
one
need to
yet,
go.
but
I haven't got one yet
yeah.
either.
Shamrock
I do
shakes
love a
are
shamrock
legit, man.
shake.
I once, when I was an activity director, I made like there's an alcoholic version of that
Mhm.
that you make with like mint absinthe. No, that's not what it is. Anyway, regardless, there's a version of it
Yeah.
that tastes just like it, but has
Alcohol in it.
alcohol in it. Yeah, but it was
That's fine.
good. I made it for a happy hour we did, and then I promptly ended up taking like half the bucket of ice cream home,
Mhm.
like because I pre-made it at home the night before so that it had all,
Right.
and I had to get the proportions right because if you put too much alcohol in it, it didn't freeze right, and the
Right,
smoothie
right.
texture and whatnot. So, I feel like I'm forgetting something else that I can't remember.
Um, I don't
I
know.
don't, I don't think I did. But we had a good trip.
Yeah.
Life, other updates.
Yeah.
We had super romantic dinner for Valentine's Day at Pizza Ranch, which was delicious.
Nice.
I just also love like that we ended up at Pizza Ranch on Valentine's Day. Like it
Yeah.
worked out really well, and it was honestly like they have such good pizza, and their like garlic bread is so good. Oh yeah, you did bring me breakfast in bed Valentine's Day
Aw,
morning. You broke the
cute.
rules and brought me waffles and coffee and stuff in bed. It was very,
Nice.
very sweet. That was awesome to wake up to. Even though it
Yeah.
wasn't like I'm never like a hungry first thing in the morning person, so I
Right.
had like one of the waffles and I felt bad, but Dave is very
Right.
romantic. Dave is very romantic. He acts like a big tough badass, but he's a teddy bear. At least when
Yeah.
he needs to be. But yeah,
Love it. Absolutely love it.
yeah. No, it was a good trip. It's been a good week. I'm just
Yeah.
happy like I don't know if I talked about it on the show or if I just told you guys about it on it like off air, but a couple months ago, like I was taking Adderall for my ADD and my sleeping disorder, and then like Adderall shortage was nationwide,
Oh,
and so they
yeah.
switched me to this concerta, which like kept me awake. It did its job there, but it didn't like give me the oomph that Adderall does.
Right.
And then I went to fill it this month, and they're like, "Oh, well, that's on back order now too." I
Damn.
find out like they have Adderall, the extended release back in stock, and so being back on it, I'm a little bit like I mean, you remember no, it was on air because you talked about how
Yeah.
different I seemed when I first switched.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, or that it was like a noticeable enough difference.
Right.
But just having the Adderall back the last 2 days, I'm like, I wanna clean my room tonight, like, if I still have enough oomph after we do pucked up and stuff, like,
Right.
might actually get some of the shit done that I've been neglecting. But my brain is also just going 1,000 miles a minute at this moment.
Yeah. I feel
Shit
that.
happens.
Yeah.
But
But thank goodness for
yeah.
Adderall, man. Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, like, my sleeping disorder is such that, like, I wouldn't be able to get out of bed without it
Yeah.
because I never hit the REM stage of sleep, so I'm never, like, recharged.
I feel that.
And Dave can attest to
What's up,
no
gamer?
refunds. But also
Yeah,
hello,
sorry,
game.
all sales are final.
Yes. Um,
Bummer.
but yeah, he can definitely attest to I slept a lot. But it also was
Yeah,
like my first vacation in for fucking ever, it feels like. So it's
true.
like I
You've been looking
pre-warned
forward to it for
Dave
a
before
really
I
long
went
time.
down there. It's like I'm not waking up anytime in the morning. Like, no, that's not how this is gonna be.
I'm always that way with vacations though. Like, I don't understand people who want to like get up at 8 o'clock in the morning on vacation. Like, excuse you, I have to be at work every day of my normal life.
Right.
Like, why do I want to be up early? Let me take advantage of not having shit
Well,
to
I'm
do
like,
about shit.
if I was like, like let's say I went to Italy, which is on my bucket list, right? I then would like easily get up. Yeah, I mean, I got up a couple of times, but we also took naps too. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, but like I would spend a couple extra days to like be able to just sleep as much as I wanted to, and then like resettle to the time difference and stuff, and
Right.
then be able to like get up and go. But like that or I need and I also am the person too, especially if I'm like out of away from my own house for a long
Mhm.
time. I need time before I leave on vacation and time when I get back before my work life goes back to what it was because otherwise
Yeah.
I'm going to be an unhappy person.
That was
Um,
basically how I felt about this because I was supposed to come back Saturday and then way to have Sunday to like reset and whatever. And then not getting
yeah.
back Sunday until like
Yeah.
4:30 like ruined everything. I was so unproductive at work yesterday just because I didn't have time
Oh,
to
I'm
like
sure.
reset. It sucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
But they had to have understood that at least. I mean, it's nothing that
Oh, my boss
you
did not
did.
care. She was
But
like, "Yeah, no." She was like, "Do what you can do and what you can't do, you can do tomorrow." And I was like, "Great."
right.
'Cause that's all it took.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Well, what do you say we get into some
Yeah.
Am I the Assholes?
Yes.
I have several good ones, I think.
I have,
Um
yeah, a couple good ones too. So I'm
All right, I'm gonna
intrigued
start with
to
this one. I know there's one that we already said that I was gonna do, but I'm not gonna start with that one. I'm gonna do that one second.
that's
Because
fair.
I wanna do this one first.
Okay.
All right, am I the asshole for not giving my sister her wedding dress because she didn't invite my underage son?
Interesting.
I
Okay.
Oh yeah, it is interesting. I, 40 female, have a sister or I'm sorry, wow, I can't fucking read. I, 40 male, have a sister, 30 female, who is getting married in a week. The groom proposed to her a year ago at a family dinner that left everyone speechless, but very happy for them as they are longtime companions. During this dinner, my sister asked my son, 17 male, to make her wedding dress. My son has always loved design and fashion. He took technical
Oh, okay.
courses in these areas and sewing, and even his friends keep asking for his clothes because they are so beautiful. He agreed, but said that he needed time and that he would need her opinion constantly. At
Mhm.
first, my sister was very annoying. My son drew about 50 dress designs in a month, and she only liked one of them, which he then continued with. He sewed it with great quality fabric, which I paid for as I wanted to get involved in a certain way. For five
Right.
months, he made several adjustments to suit her wishes, as she always complained about something being off. After a while, he arrived at the final model, and it was just amazing. My mother cried seeing my sister in the dress, and I confessed that I almost got emotional too. The problem was that last week my son came to talk to me about the wedding invitation that had not arrived for him, but had for our other family members. I thought maybe he didn't need one, but it still felt weird. So I messaged my sister raising the issue, and she replied that she didn't want any underage people at her wedding because there would be alcohol. I asked if she was going to make an exception for my son, but she cut me off and said no. There are no children in our family. My son is the only minor, so I didn't see any sense in this rule for family members. And to make matters worse, my son was very sad and cried because he spent months on this dress and then couldn't go to the wedding. I
Yeah.
was very upset and I told my sister that she should look for another dress as soon as possible, as she would no longer wear the one that my son made. She called and yelled at me, saying I was being unreasonable and that I couldn't do this. My mother called me saying I should deliver the dress and follow the rules. But I didn't, and I hung up on her. Because of this, my family is divided. Many agree with me and condemn my sister's action, saying she could make just the one exception. But another part says that I'm being unreasonable and I'm spoiling her big day. I don't think I'm being wrong, just rational and paying her back in kind. Am I the asshole? Now, there's also an update to this. And I should say that this story has also been locked too.
Yeah,
First, I
I
would like
saw
to
that.
thank all these comments and suggestions. I really didn't expect my post to resonate so much. I talked to my son about the suggestions you guys gave me, and he agreed to sell the dress at market price. He calculated the price of
Good.
everything, and the value was actually quite high. We sent the proposal to my sister, and she hated it. She said she couldn't afford it because it was too expensive and it should be a gift because she is family. I responded by saying
No,
that it was
bitch.
too easy to say that she was family to get a free dress, but not enough to include my son in her wedding. She
Right.
cried on the call and begged me not to ruin her day, but I didn't because that to me was bullshit. At no point did she offer just to let my son go or apologize for her behavior. And for anyone who said that maybe she's homophobic, I'm not sure, but I think who could be influencing her is her fiance, who is Christian and has never been close to my son. However, I don't care if he's doing it or not. If she wants to exclude my son from this event, then she will also be cutting ties with me. And for those who are asking for a photo of the dress, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but my son didn't agree, and unfortunately, I won't post because of his wishes. If anything
Fair.
else happens, I'll let you all know. But again, it was locked, so I don't know. I mean, he could
Right.
update the post, but I don't think anything else will happen.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree with you, gamer. Like, I don't think he's the asshole whatsoever. First of all, it's rude for her to think that she doesn't have to pay for it,
right?
regardless.
First of all, a
Um,
custom dress, like, made to your measurements with fabric that you
yeah,
want, like, that's just
yeah.
expensive, honey.
Right.
The least you could do is give
And
the kid a fucking invite.
right. And like it's not like you'd be making, 1,000 other kids in your family upset if you made the
Right.
exception for him. Like I think every adult there would know. And he's what? Yeah, he's
17.
17. He's so close.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, Bree. I agree with that. And sorry, I'm
It's not
trying to
like
get
he's a
better about reading
toddler.
comments too. But Bree said, "I understand not wanting kids at your wedding, but if he's the only minor and he's 17, it shouldn't be a big issue," which I agree with. Because he
Yeah.
made the fucking dress, and then to be
Right?
pissy because you're not going to get it for free. But I'm family. It should be a gift. Fuck you.
And it probably would have originally been the gift could he have been at the wedding. It sounds like that was what it was
Yeah,
gonna end up being. Which
100%.
again, so fucking nice because I know how expensive that shit is. I think most adults wouldn't have an issue with inviting the dress designer to their wedding. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
yes,
Like,
he's 17, but that's so
but he's
close.
17. Yeah.
And,
I mean,
like,
even my
come on.
14-year-old like handled my sister's wedding so well, even with people drinking and stuff.
Right.
Um, and my kid has reasons to like have some, trauma with drinking and weddings and
Yeah.
um all of that, but he did really well with it. And never once even, I mean, I had so many people say there's no way he's 40. He was what, 13 at the time? Yeah, he was still 13. So they're like, there's no way he's only 13.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't stay for the reception, yeah, he should be at least there for the ceremony. And like, think about, she could have just helped his self-esteem, and think about what this is gonna do to him
Yeah.
as not only like getting confidence about his designs and wanting to do
Mhm.
this, but about like not feeling backed,
Right.
and I love the
Yeah.
comment somebody posted that said he should go and wear the dress. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I
fuck
saw that too.
yes. Like
I was like, "I love
that would
that."
be awesome. Like it's petty as fuck,
Yeah.
but like he'd probably rock the dress better than she
Oh,
ever could.
absolutely.
So um yeah, just what a bitch. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And
I just think it's awful.
I would never ask somebody to do that. Because at first with the title, I was like, okay, why does this, a 40-year-old brother
Right.
have the ability to like keep her wedding dress from her? But yeah, once you went into it, I was like, oh, that
Right.
makes perfect sense. And he's the one that paid for all the materials, and his son did
Mhm.
all of the work. No, you don't get that shit for free when you're going to be a bitch to him.
Well, and I
And
really
he
like
should
this
be able to
comment.
turn around and sell it.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this one comment that said, "Not the asshole. If she's willing to make an adult size request of a 17-year-old, she should be
Yeah,
willing to accept him as an adult at their event. There's no reason a
right,
minor cannot attend a wedding with an open bar, as every venue I've looked at for my wedding, um, every open bar wedding I've attended as well has a bartender that checks IDs."
right, right. Or there,
So,
yeah, there's some way to notice it. And if he's literally the only person under, like, let's just say
yeah,
even under 21, right?
right.
Assuming that this is in the US, because a lot of, I mean, maybe it's not, and it's a European country where it's 18 as the
18.
drinking
Yeah.
age. Um, but if it were here and he was the only one under 21, like, you can tell the bartenders that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not
Be
like
like,
he's
"That you see
gonna,
that little kid over there? Do not serve him."
yeah,
You know what I
like
mean?
he's 17, he, yeah, can't have
Yeah.
anything. You know, maybe make him a Shirley Temple or something like
Right.
fun. But what a, that breaks my heart for that
It
kid.
does. Well, especially
Because it's
because
hard
after
enough to be
all that
like
work you put
17.
in,
Yeah, to be
like,
17, be gay, and be like wanting to get into fashion and designing a wedding dress is not easy
no.
whatsoever. So the fact that he took that on, made the entire dress, like it sounds like it's
In 5
completed.
months. Yeah, it's completed.
Yeah, 5 months of his time. You always preferred a Roy Rogers over Shirley Temple. I don't know what a Roy Rogers is. Like I
It's
used to know,
grenadine
but I
and
don't
Coke
remember. Grenadine Coke
versus grenadine and
and
Sprite.
Sprite, yeah. So it's just a cherry Coke, basically.
Yeah. I think it sucks too though, because like, if he was planning on using the pictures of her in the wedding dress for any sort of portfolio for
Yeah,
submission to a
yeah,
design school, now he can't. Like, yeah, he could always get somebody else to come in and model it, but, like, it was altered to fit her. You know what I mean? It's honestly never gonna look as good on anyone else as it does on
no,
her because it wasn't made
yeah.
for someone else's body.
Yeah. Well, and not just
That's the thing with
altered, but like
custom dresses.
designed around her
Like, to fit
measurements.
her
You know, I mean,
features.
that's
Yeah.
such a huge thing, let alone like being altered, you know,
Yeah.
when something is
Exactly.
sewn basically to your body in particular. It's so, it's a different feeling. I've never worn a custom made dress like made for me, but I can assume
Yeah.
that it would be
I also
phenomenal.
never worn a custom made, well, that's not true. I've made my own, like, Halloween costumes and stuff, never mind.
Well, that's fair. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. I haven't done that. Like, and I've made, I guess I've never really made clothing. I don't think I have.
Well,
All right.
alright.
Well, uh, is this what I wanted to read? Hold on. That's not the right one.
There's lots of good ones out there.
There are, and I closed out of the one that I wanted to read, which is awesome, but I'll find it when
Oh,
you read
no.
your next one. This one. Am I the asshole for refusing to help my neighbor and her two young children when their wipers were frozen?
Okay.
It's a very Minnesota
Yeah, right? Very
issue,
Midwest.
especially this time of year. Even though this is Canada, which we've established, Minnesota is just extra Canada. But it says, I, 59 male, live in a major city in Ontario, Canada. I live in a small subdivision and have 5 neighbors total on my street. Over the past few years, during the winter, when we're getting a lot of snow or a bad storm, as I'm leaving for my overnight shift around 8 or 9 p.m., I'll put my wife's windshield wipers up on her car and do a quick walk around to my other 5 neighbors and put their windshield wipers up on their cars. Obviously, not if they're outside or something, but if it looks like they're in for the night, many of them forget to do this, and many of them have children, and it simply or typically slips their mind. And their wipers will be frozen to their car in the morning. Trust me, I've broken 2 sets of wipers this winter
Oh,
because
yeah.
I don't ever put mine up. It's just something nice I like to do to look out for my neighbors. They're all always grateful for this and thank me for it. Many of them
Okay.
started doing it too, and there will be nights where I'll forget to put mine and my wife's up, and in the morning, one of the neighbors has done it.
Nice.
Anyway, recently one of our neighbors moved, and a family moved in as of last week. It's a young couple and their 2 young children. The other night, I was leaving for my overnight shift at around 9 p.m. It was snowing really heavy, and we were supposed to be getting almost 30 centimeters of snow, and it was freezing out.
Oof.
So that's a little over 2 feet. It was probably this last
That's a big
bad wind,
yeah,
like snowstorm that came from Canada, actually.
right.
But we were supposed to get 30 centimeters of snow and it was freezing. So I put my wife's wipers up and do my usual quick walk around to the other neighbors. I was hesitant when I reached the new neighbor's house, as I've only ever introduced myself once, but did it anyway. As I was putting the second wiper up on their pickup truck, the husband came charging out of his front door yelling, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing to my truck?" I tried to explain to him that I was just putting his wipers up to help him. He continued to scream at me to get the hell off my property and don't touch my shit again. The wife then came out and started
Noted.
yelling at me too. I apologized and just started walking away. Some of my other neighbors heard the commotion and came outside to see what was happening. They tried explaining to him too that it's just something nice that we do, but neither of them were having it. Fast forward to this morning. I'm arriving home for my overnight shift, and as I'm walking in, I see the wife of this couple struggling outside to break the ice off the windshield wipers
Huh.
to get them off the truck. I guess she was trying to take her kids to school and the wipers were frozen solid on the car. She sees me and yells over, "Hey there, do you mind giving me a hand, please?" Look over to her and yell back, "No, sorry. I thought I was never to touch your shit again, ma'am," and I walked inside my
Yeah,
house.
fair.
She yelled back at me, "Wow," is how I assume that was.
Yeah.
I told my wife about this. She thinks that I should have gone to help her because she was just trying to get her kids to school. I disagree, and I was just following what they told me. Am I the asshole?
No. Are you
Good
petty?
question.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely petty
exactly.
behavior, but I support it.
Yeah, yeah. I would just start giving her. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, Zach. The husband like threatened to trespass him. Essentially, yeah. Like that was a very aggressive way for the husband to come busting out of the door. He didn't give
Yeah.
him a second to explain what he was doing or that it wasn't like a hurtful thing. Even the
Right.
neighbors were trying to stand up for this poor guy just doing something sweet. And
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to like see if we get any updates on this.
Within, like, the next week or so as I get more
Yeah, to
info,
see
yeah.
if maybe I mean, because I can understand, like, if I saw somebody messing with my car outside, like, I'd come out and probably be pretty pissed too, but like, would give them a chance to explain what they're doing to my vehicle,
Well, plus,
you
like, I
know?
mean, let's be honest, if you watch it for more than 3 seconds, you can tell that they're putting the windshield wipers up. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? As someone who just pushed 1.5 feet of snow off my car, I appreciate that my neighbors put my wipers up. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the
Mhm.
neighborly thing to do, and if you can and if you're willing to, great. If someone tells you not to fucking touch your shit ever again, then you don't touch their shit ever again.
Right, yeah,
And if
even
they
if you
ask for
ask
help,
for help.
like, okay. I was
Yeah,
giving you my help last night and you gave me a shit sandwich instead. Like, absolutely not.
uh So somebody commented, and that's like the top comment. It says, "Not the asshole for refusing to help. I understand why the neighbors might have had the initial 'what the fuck, get away from my truck' reaction, but that's only excusable for like 30 seconds. Once you
Mhm.
explained that you were trying to help and they saw that literally every other car had their wipers up, they should have at a minimum apologized for yelling at you, even if they didn't want to accept your help. And it's
Right.
good to refuse help to help people who rejected your help, especially for the exact problem you tried to help them with. They'll
Yep.
either solve the problem themselves or learn not to shout so much before getting the facts." And then somebody else says, they get exactly what they deserve in this situation. I can't believe they have the nerve to ask him for help. And then somebody
Mhm.
goes, this is a great example of r/malicious compliance. Somebody
Yep.
goes, and r/petty revenge.
Yep.
But yeah, it's like, what did I think? To quote Airplane, Trump don't want no help. Trump don't get no help. Funny.
That's
But
great.
yeah, like that, the sheer audacity to then be pissy when you're like, "No, I'm good."
Right.
I wouldn't blame you for like
No.
saying, you know what? I choose not to help you because you were a dick to me. Like
Absolutely. That's well within your right, I think.
100%, 100%
Yeah.
within what your rights are.
All right, we ready for the next one? This is the one that
Yes.
before Danger and I were like, "Oh my god, I read that. Did you?" And we were like, "Yes, we have
Yeah.
to." So,
Yeah, I didn't even read, like, I didn't read all of it. I
oh yeah,
basically
there's a
just
lot of information in here.
skipped a bunch of it,
Um,
but
yeah.
yeah.
All right. Am I the asshole for breaking off from my family in an amusement park because of my nephew's comments at lunch? Which I think is a pretty good explanation of what happened. I, 26
Yeah.
female, am currently on vacation with my siblings and their families and our parents, as well as my husband, 26 male, and our kids, 8 male, 8 female, 6 male, 3 female. I hope the 8 male and 8
Kids.
female are twins. Um,
One can hope.
one can
Or
hope.
if they were like, stepchild, or like
Right. Kids
each
from a
partner
different
had a
marriage.
child when they
Yeah,
met or something.
possible. Um,
But yeah, they would have been 18 then when they had
right? That's
that's
well,
I mean,
it
more
doesn't
power
get
to
any
you,
better
like,
when we get to the sister. So, my sister
no,
Laura,
no,
33 female, has 7 kids. First of all, I just like to pause. 7 kids is a lot of fucking kids, y'all. Like, that's a lot. A
it's
lot
a
of
lot.
kids.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot. All right, my sister Laura has
Jeez.
33 female, has 7 kids, 14
I'm
male,
sorry.
13 male, 11 female, 7 kids, Brie. Yeah. Um, uh, sorry, 11 female, 9 female, 7 male, 5 male, and 3 female. 6 is also a lot. um, with her husband, who is 33 male. Her oldest son, Jude, is openly gay. He's very feminine and stereotypically gay. We don't have an issue with that. However, Jude tends to use his sexuality to excuse bad behavior, most notably his pretty blatant misogyny. Most of Jude's friends are girls, and I've overheard him and his friends slut shame girls grade before. My sister's 13-year-old son, Heston, has complete opposite interests. He's the sporty one. As far as I know, he hasn't said anything bigoted. He's a nice kid. Heston is also starting to talk more and more about the girls he likes. Heston was showing some photos of girls he likes at the table while we were at lunch. Jude saw the girls and he kept making remarks on what the girls were wearing, including calling them sexist names, mocking the girls for their hobbies such as sports, and mocking their weights. I tried telling him to stop a few times and he wouldn't, saying I was only offended because it was true. The final straw for me is when he told Heston to stop being a pussy when he was getting visibly upset. I pulled Laura aside to talk to her, and when I did, she said Jude couldn't be sexist because he's gay, and how
That's
his
not how
friends
that
have said
works
he's basically one of the girls.
at all.
Which, yeah, not how that fucking works. As soon as lunch was over, I told my family that I needed a break, and we went to a different part of the park for the rest of the day. I specifically told the table that it was because Jude was being disgusting, and I asked him if he was as much of a bully, if he was a if he was this much of a bully at school. When we got back to the hotel, a few of my siblings, including Laura, started to argue with me about if what I did was okay. They said that I was in the wrong for both breaking off and for the comments I made to Jude. Laura continued to defend Jude, saying he was a good kid who was just voicing his own views, and some of our siblings agreed with her, but some were saying I was in the right and Jude went too far. Later that night, Heston came in our room and thanked me, saying he wished he spoke up at the time and then asked me for advice on the girls. Laura is also mad that I gave him advice on girls, but he's a sweet kid, and I know any girl would be lucky to have him. Laura said it was disrespectful to her authority. Am I the asshole?
No,
Right?
no, I don't think so. I think you're standing up not only for your other nephew, um, who I mean, and clearly, like, these 2 are siblings. I get that,
Right.
whatever. There's a little bit of the back and forth that's just gonna naturally happen with siblings. But
Yeah.
like Dave said, some of the most misogynistic people that he'd ever met are women. I agree with that. Um, there's just so much to unpack there. I mean,
Right. First of
that kid's
all,
gonna have a rough life. And like, okay, so
yeah.
Matt's 14 as well, and there are things that he says that are like not okay, and you just shut him down right away. And then there are things that like you pick your battles, like
Yeah.
if he wants to call somebody a pussy, call him a pussy. I don't care. Like, that's to your face, but like watching hockey, you'll be like, oh, that guy's a pussy, whatever. But that doesn't bother
Yeah.
me. But yeah, those are not words you say about an actual person's anything. You know, especially not your 13-year-old brother who's just talking about like the girls that he likes, or
Right.
his like girlfriends or friends that are girls' interests and whatever. Like, and
Yeah.
clearly the mom wasn't doing anything to mitigate
No.
these two boys fighting. And even as an adult, like I tell my kid all the time, like if he's being a dick, I'll be like, you're kind of being an asshole right now, and like I don't want to be around you when you behave like this. And he'll say the same
Yeah.
thing to me. And it's a good way that we each keep ourselves in check when, we're not necessarily fully aware of like how our behavior is affecting the other person.
Mhm.
Um, but oh God, what a dick.
Yeah. And there was a comment that I kind of liked. So they said, not the asshole, and well done, I'd say. You objected to the bullying and misogyny in the moment, identified it publicly, and protected your family from it by removing yourselves. Laura has two problems. One of them is Jude's behavior, which needs to be corrected before he hurts more people. As an old bitchy queen, it can be fun, but it doesn't have to be mean, and RuPaul's a crap mentor in this regard. The other is her own perception of what behavior is acceptable towards women. If she wouldn't accept a comment from a male stranger, or that comment wouldn't be generally acceptable, it's not acceptable when Jude utters it. I do hope she comes to her senses. Jude isn't cute or funny in this, just destructive, and sooner or later that will hurt him the most. He'll have no friends who trust him, who trust that he won't harm them in some way with his comments. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
basically.
exactly. Exactly. And like slut shaming and all of that, that's never okay to do. Ever.
No. Especially at 14, based solely off of what they're wearing, you cannot tell anything from about anyone based off of what they're wearing. Like, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
kid is
exactly.
absolutely an asshole in this situation,
Yeah.
and the aunt kind of was just like, "You're being an asshole." And I guess some people just have a problem with you telling kids they're being assholes, but, like, listen, sometimes you
I
just gotta
do.
tell them like it is.
Right. Oh, 100%. a hundred
Yeah.
percent. Like it. And if the adults in this kid's life are not going to be the ones to help keep him in line and say, hey, like the way you're behaving is not okay,
Right.
who can this kid rely on to help keep him in check or like learn these things? I mean, these are things,
Yeah.
yeah, most kids by 14 know that you shouldn't slut shame girls or guys for that matter. I mean, you shouldn't slut shame
Anyone,
anybody,
yeah.
but or weight shame or whatever. But maybe this kid isn't one that learns that lesson that young. The adults in your life are supposed to be the ones to help you learn these lessons and
Yeah.
like how to behave and respectfully like talk to people.
Right.
um Now, like when I was that age, was I good at that? Heck no. Did I
No.
slut shame people? Heck yeah, I did.
Probably,
Of
yeah.
course I did, but I was also slut shamed. Like part of growing up, but it doesn't have to be part of growing up. You know what I mean?
No.
Like I think far
Absolutely.
too many people just say, eh,
Dave says, I mean, if they happen to be wearing a leather collar with chrome letters that say pet, you might know some things based on attire. Okay.
right. But
Yes.
but
But if we're just talking
even
about,
if
like,
that if they're
generally
an adult,
speaking.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and they're not just kids at that point though, because especially at like 13, well, honestly, with Matt, I'd say it started around 10 where it was really like we let him have pretty like blurred boundaries on certain things. Like I let him swear. I don't care if he swears. Don't swear at me,
Yeah.
don't swear at any other humans out of anger. You stub your toe, scream the F word. It makes you feel better. 100%. I
Yeah.
believe in that. But, you don't get to like call me a bitch or whatever. Um,
Certainly don't call your principal a bitch. They don't like it.
yeah, that's not a great idea.
Mhm.
And well, and in general, because this is and this he doesn't know this, but my ex-husband and I, like he would the towards the end of our marriage, when we'd fight, he'd be like, "Oh, you're such a bitch," and and it's semantics, 100% semantics. But
Yeah.
my like comeback was always, "No, I am being a bitch. I'm
Right.
not a bitch all the time." and then he'd get irritated because it's semantics. But like to me, that's very different. Like
Right.
I can say I still have love for Matt's dad. I'm not in love with him. I don't want to be
Right.
with him, but I have love for
Right.
him. I mean, I was with him for 10 years and it's the father of my child. Like, of course I still have
Of
love.
course. Yeah.
But we also have a good co-parenting relationship now.
Yeah.
But if you're not emulating that as a parent too, your kids are never going to learn how to behave. And
Mhm.
clearly this mom going, oh, well, it's just kids, or,
Or
oh,
he's
it's,
gay, so he can't be
yeah, he's gay,
misogynistic.
so it's okay. He's one of the girls, so it's okay. No, girls shouldn't talk about other
Yeah,
girls that way either.
you
And I've said that
100%.
ever since I was that age.
Yeah.
When people started slut shaming me because I had boobs in 5th grade, it doesn't mean that it's
Nope.
okay for them to spread rumors that I had sex with. I remember, like, and this came up on Jackbox the other night, remember?
Yeah.
And it was like they called me a slut because I had tits, and then in 7th grade they spread the rumor that I had slept with everybody in 8th grade. And I'm a fucking
Right.
virgin at that point.
Right.
But that doesn't make it okay. Like just because
No.
they're kids, that doesn't make it okay. I still obviously at 36 carry that with me
Yeah.
still.
And also, like, the whole line of "you're only offended because it's true" is not
Such bullshit.
that's such bullshit. Like, no, sometimes you're offended because what you said is offensive.
Yeah.
Like, that's how that works. You can be offended on other people's behalf without it being because there's any veracity in it. And
Right.
also, I'm so sick and tired of this like movement of like brutal honesty where it's like, oh, I just tell it like it is. It's like, no, you're trying to hurt somebody under the guise of being honest
Yeah.
about things.
Right.
Like,
Right. And
you don't
there's a
have
way
to
to
hurt
be
someone to tell the
honest.
truth.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I was just going to say is like if you have a friend that's like, maybe shouldn't be wearing a certain outfit, there's a way to say that without going, right. Well, yeah. And there's a way to be brutally honest without being an asshole. And
Right.
not everybody is good at identifying that.
Hmm.
Um, and not everybody is good at taking, I suck at constructive criticism. I, I hate it because I then take it and go, well, I'm not good enough. But I know my brain does
Right.
that. So now as an adult, when somebody gives me constructive criticism, I can try to break it down but at 13, 14, 15, you don't have that skill.
No.
And so this kid, see? Mm-hmm. That's why I didn't read this one, is because, like, and it hits home with having a kid that same age.
Yeah.
But that kid would be grounded
Oh my
for
God.
the end
Yeah.
of time. Like, pretty sure till the end of time.
Well,
One of us
again,
needs bangs.
I
Light.
don't know about that.
Light. Light.
Um, okay.
Should I get bangs? I had bangs once. I cut them myself. It was a horrible decision.
Yeah, usually cutting bangs yourself is a horrible decision. Not gonna lie.
I looked like I belonged
Not gonna
on the
lie.
prairie because they, like, and of course, the first time I ever had done it, and I forgot that when your hair is wet, it's longer. So by the time it
Mhm.
dried, they were like, here.
Micro bangs, yeah.
Yeah. Like, fuck. And of
Yeah.
course, trying to even them out, it didn't go well.
No.
I may angle again, like do like not full bangs.
Some, like, face framing pieces, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, something. I haven't had my hair cut by like a professional in for fucking ever either.
Yeah.
Matt just got his hair cut by my cousin on day while I was
Nice.
getting bit by snakes. But yeah, it's nice.
Alright, do you have the next one?
Yeah. So it says it's an update.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to see. Okay, I don't think anything in the original post. I'll keep it up just in case we have to reference it, but I think it'll make
Okay.
sense. It says, so thank you for everyone who responded. My concerns when I posted were that I was being overly emotional, critically, and demanding that my friend, Bethany, 31 female, remove any photos of me, 23 female, wearing her lingerie from her website and storefront. Sorry, I should tell you. The title is, Am I the Asshole for Withdrawing Permission to Use Modeling Photos?
Interesting. Okay.
Um, Her response here, the response here was unanimous that I was not. All the law talk was a little confusing, but I was just relieved to know that I wasn't being a bitch. Um, so maybe I do have to read part of this. So it's like skimming it, it says, the friend, 31 female, makes clothing for a store in town. She makes really nice women's lingerie, camisoles, baby dolls, bralettes, panty, whatever. 3 months ago, she called to ask for a favor. She wanted to expand and start an online store, and she'd ask if I'd model her stuff in pictures that she could use on the site. I said yes and that I'd be happy to help. I get to her place and I change into her clothes. They are way more revealing than her other stuff. Before they were silk and satin with lace, always solid. This is all lace and thin, transparent fabric. I bring it up. She said that she's just trying new things to widen her market. Most of your
Okay.
face will be cropped out and we'll just show you in the clothes, she said. I agree, and they continued. Afterwards, they reviewed the photos. They were all really good. I didn't think I'd ever looked that good. Some photos were more revealing than I was prepared for. She said that those shots, mainly transparent or wet clothes and imperfections, would be removed in editing. She showed me another shoot she did with a paid model, and they were fine, so I said okay and I left.
Okay.
She had been busy setting everything up and hadn't spoken. She finally emailed me the site, and the photos were still really revealing, if not more so, and showcased the sexiness. My face is in them. I'm surprised, but she said it was fine and that she'd replace my photos with new things came out. She'll fix it and that I don't have to model again. Last night, I walked by the store downtown and I see a near naked me in the window. Call Bethany to ask what the fuck. And she tells me the photo is too cute not to use, and she didn't put it on the site, but she couldn't let it go to waste. She tells me that my feelings are normal, but I should be proud of how beautiful I am and that she'd do it herself if she could. And sales had spiked in the week since it went up. A whole week.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah.
lawsuit time. Holy shit.
I am livid. I tell her no, it's not okay, and she now has to remove all of my pictures from everything, including the site. She said point blank that that's not how it works. She paid for the pictures. I agreed to it. The contract was implied by me getting my pictures taken, and she could use them if she wanted. I hung up. The guy I'm with says that I'm overreacting. The pictures are great. I look really sexy, and that
Well, of
that's not a
course he would
bad
say
thing.
that.
Right. Uh, People get murdered over nuggets. Shit is wild. Um, Very true. I am livid. I tell her no.
I tell her no.
Sorry. It was the paragraph I already read.
No, I'm imagining that's how she actually said it, though.
You
I
want a
like
copy
it.
of the contract? Good. Welcome, Uggs. Also, I get a text from Bethany later that she's sorry, but I'm being emotional. If I made her take down my pictures, it would ruin her. She's thousands deep on credit cards into expanding. I'm young. All models feel like this, and I need to learn to deal with it. I am not a model. I am trying to be a working professional. I
Yeah.
am mad, but also genuinely conflicted. Am I the asshole for ruining my friendship and her business because I have cold feet about my pictures being seen? Okay, that was the original post. So now we'll go into this one because it makes more sense now. But everybody said not the asshole.
Real quick,
As
Bree said
she did,
implied doesn't mean shit in a court. You're right,
yeah,
but that also
exactly.
means that the business owner then doesn't have the right to use those images. So she still wouldn't be able to have them up because it is the likeness of another person that she does not have contractual rights to. So
Well,
she would
and
still lose in a court of law.
not necessarily because she talked to a lawyer. He
Oh,
said
really?
no, she had no implied right to the photos because this was not art, but commerce. A model release had to have been in place for legal ownership and rights to the photos to pass to Bethany from the photographer. So Bethany didn't take the pictures herself. They had a photographer come in and take them. So technically the photographer
The
is the one that
photographer owns the
owns,
rights.
right. And it
Okay,
doesn't
yeah.
sound. It doesn't sound. It sounds like it was a verbal contract too, not
Right.
like an actual, legal contract.
Which everything in
Um,
writing, folks. Get everything
Always,
in
always, even if you're,
writing. Always.
especially if you're dealing with friends. Um,
And family. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It would be up to Bethany to prove that she had the rights, which we would have to go to court for. That could go either way, so it'd be better to resolve it between us. He offered to
Mhm.
drop any documents or file anything that I needed just to let him know. When I went to the storefront to speak to the owner, oh, so Bethany doesn't own the store. Her clothes are just in this store, it sounds like.
Oh my god.
When I went to the storefront to speak to the owner, the poster in the window was already taken down. She had received a call from the city that some complaints
Yes.
had been made that the photo was up in public view. She
Yes.
decided it wasn't worth the hassle and took it down. I have the poster now. I talked to
Good.
the photographer next. He said that he was under the impression that the model release was in place. He sold his rights to the photos as a cost of the shoot. Without any release, he agreed to not deliver any more of my photos to Bethany. He still had 200 to edit. He showed me the cropped
Wow.
and photoshopped photos as well. Bethany was correct that the altered photos did not work. It's difficult to Photoshop see-through lace allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, her boyfriend has a poster now. Yeah, probably.
Accurate.
Uh, I texted Bethany to ask if we could meet. She said that she was hoping that I would reach out again. We set a time and a place. When we met up, she immediately apologized for being tough on me, that she was wrapped up in her business and didn't think about anything
Mm.
else. I accepted her apology and then told her what the lawyer said. She said her lawyer had said something different, but she brought along a release in case I wanted to sign it. I said that I would think about it. We talked about our friendship and agreed that it was likely over. We spoke for a long
Mm.
time. She apologized again and asked that I stay in touch. She would send me an offer for a signed release. Overall, not a huge blow up or legal battle, just someone with tunnel vision about their passion. Which I can get.
Fair. Yeah.
Still, it woke me up to some realities that I was ignoring when I moved here. I still have decisions to make about staying or going, where to go, home or to California, how to make friends, and what I value. All of this has shaken me badly, and I'm scared. I figured out early that men were doing things for me because they wanted to sleep with me, and that was also jarring. Yeah, she's young. She's what, 23?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, 23. Um, and that was jarring, but this was the first time a woman had taken advantage of me, so to speak, for how I look. I'm questioning a lot of my life, and it's a lonely thing to realize that you don't have allies anywhere. Well, that's it. Thanks
Breaks my
again.
heart.
Sorry, I didn't end in more an exciting way. That's so
I mean,
tough.
it sounds like ultimately part of what she wanted was accomplished. A, her picture is no longer in the store, which is the thing that she had the biggest
The
issue
biggest
with,
thing.
which I 100% like, there was no way a picture that sexy was staying up in a storefront in the United States. Like, not fucking happening. Um, the friend absolutely took advantage of her. That's shitty.
Yeah.
Luckily, it sounds like the photographer was on board, understanding that it, like,
Yeah.
this wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be that way. Also, like, how hard is it to just crop it so that you're seeing from like the neck down so your
Yeah.
face isn't in it? Like, it can't be.
That's not like hard Photoshop to just crop both
No.
your head.
But I could
Um,
understand how, like, on some of the skimpier thing, it could be hard to add material in, things like
oh,
that.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely. To make
if
it
you're not
look
easily
less right.
identifiable in the picture
Right.
by face or
Yeah.
body markings or anything like that, then, like, that she may have been more comfortable with that, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And it sounds like that was the impression she was given, and then saw
Yeah.
like a full color, like
Full,
near
basically
naked
new.
picture of her
Yeah.
in the front window of a store. And I get
Yeah.
like, hey, well taken photos like that
Oh,
are
yeah.
very like sexy and beautiful in my opinion. Like that is a
It's
art
a form of
form.
art. Yeah.
But to tell her like that you just have to learn to deal with it, all models feel like this. She's not a model.
No, she's
So
doing you
how
a favor.
how dare you tell her to get over it
Right.
because she's not a model.
Right.
But
Oh,
yeah,
man.
so I
That
know that was
poor
long-winded.
OP.
I apologize,
Definitely
but
not an asshole at all
yeah.
for standing up for herself. The lighting that goes into high-end boudoir photography is amazing. Very true. Look, boudoir photography is a skill, and not everyone is good at it. Like, at being able to take the photos, I mean, just because there is a lot to do with lighting and posing and angles and things like that to bring out the best
Yeah.
from a
Yeah.
person. So I hope that she at least got to keep those 200 photos that he hasn't edited, that she now
Yeah.
retains the physical copy of it, or
Yeah.
like the digital copy, because that's all that there
Or
is.
he destroyed them or something.
I hope he gave them to her though, because I do hope that regardless of like what happened, that in time she can look back at those photos and be like, you know what, I did look fucking hot though. Like I look good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, she should get something out of it,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it doesn't sound like, I mean, maybe she was, but it didn't sound like her friend paid her.
No, it doesn't sound like it at all.
So, like, even reminiscent of the. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The pinup stuff from the 50s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like the art behind those photos, it's beautiful. And I think nothing
Mhm.
like, especially as like a bigger woman,
Right.
nothing can make you feel sexier than a well taken photo.
Yeah, very
Um,
true.
and not the ones taken, in a hotel room by your boyfriend
Well,
when you
hey, some of
make
those could
silly
be
faces.
too.
No, there were some that were like super cute, but like I think going and doing like a full photo shoot
The
in
full thing,
lingerie
yeah.
and like, would be very awakening. But
Mhm.
I'm 36 and I'm just at a point where I'm considering it,
Right.
not like, you know,
Yeah, I
um
feel that.
sorry, I'm trying to figure
I
out what
feel that.
that emote was.
Harley Quinn.
Uh yeah, I get it now.
Yeah,
It's very small on my screen.
it is
Um
tiny.
but yeah, like I can totally understand being at 23 not wanting that stuff out there for public view
Oh,
with your
100%.
face
Especially,
attached.
again, in a storefront. Like,
Yeah.
that's different. That's some kinda different, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh. Alright, are we ready for the next one?
Yes.
Am I the asshole for telling my dad's girlfriend the truth about why I have limited contact with him? Um,
Oh,
where you fucking live?
or live.
Huh?
I'm confused.
I am
I don't
too,
know
because
what
I'm not
that's.
telling people where I live.
No.
You wanna, expand on
Yeah.
that, Dave, for
I don't
us so
know
that
the near. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I get you. The near nude
Oh,
photo where
oh,
you
oh,
live.
oh.
Yeah, in the store. Like if it was
Yeah,
across the country or in a different country, even fucking better. Put that shit wherever you want to put it. But not like in my little hometown when I'm 23. No,
right,
not a chance.
and
Not a
people
chance.
can yeah, absolutely not.
Because you're already overly sexualized by so many people when you're
Yeah.
young,
Oh,
regardless
fuck.
of your gender. I mean, it just, you're
Mhm.
young and hot. Like, that's just not necessary. Plus, think about, like, oh my God, if that's like her hometown, can you imagine? Like, your pastor walking past that
Right?
storefront? Like,
I was gonna say your
I don't,
gym teacher, that would be
yeah, your
fucking horrific.
grandparents. Like, yeah,
Oh my
no,
god.
no,
No,
thank
thank
you
you. No,
very
thank you.
much.
Yeah, I'll pass on that.
Ugh, gross.
Alright, am I the asshole for telling my dad's girlfriend the truth about why I have limited contact with him? I'm number 2 out of 4 sisters. I had a good childhood, and speaking of nude photos, Dave, check your DMs. Oh,
I love
that's got a
same.
little
I'm old and
spicy
hot.
for you.
Sexualized.
A little spicy.
Little spice is nice.
Also, share with the class. Come on now. You can't leave us out.
It's really just like
It's
a
really just
nude colored
offensive.
crayon or something.
Right? No, it's more of those,
Things.
um
Drinkable dildos. Those.
no, oh, maybe. What was the fuck? Who was the guy he was posting all those, like, really sexified photos of? You know what I'm talking about? From Marvel? Oh my god, why can't I think of his fucking name? The Snap guy.
Oh, Thanos. Yeah,
Thanos, yes.
Thanos.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, Daddy Thanos
It's
pictures.
probably just more Thanos pictures. Alright.
Okay.
Oh man, Thanos, yeah.
Like Zach's. Oh, Thanos. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that.
Look, it took me a second to get there. I kept wanting to say Thor, and I was like, "I know that's not right."
Yeah,
Thor,
I
I
was
mean,
trying to
I'll take
figure
some
out
if you have
what.
sexy nude photos of Thor, you can put those in my DMs. Chris Hemsworth can get it. any day.
My
The
head,
snap guy.
my
Listen,
heart
Bree, I
hurts.
knew who it was. I knew who it was in my heart and in my brain. The problem was is that my mouth couldn't do it.
That's fair. Gee!
Gee! I like how we said
We
that.
do love schmexy.
We love
Thanos.
Schmextra
Thanos.
Thanos. Yeah. Deaf pictures of Zach, by the way. That's good to know. It's good to know. All right, I'm
I
gonna get
love
back to reading
Candace.
my Am I
Yes,
the
please
Asshole
do.
post now.
Thank you, Jen.
Um, so you guys stop derailing me in chat. All right. I'm number
I
2 out
mean,
of 4
can I rail you
sisters.
in chat?
If you want to, baby, anytime. Um,
It was just right there. I had to. I'm
you had
sorry.
to. You had to.
Talk about over sexualizing our friends.
I mean, I
That
don't
was
know if you
that was
sexualize
an
me enough,
example of
Danger.
a welcome
Yeah,
sexualization
I don't think
because
Danger
we've had these
sexualizes me enough.
conversations.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. We need more, please.
We need more of that.
D.
Specifically
It
between
is
me and
D.
Danger.
Yeah, specifically.
Oh my, getting steamy. It is. If we
Welcome to
yeah.
the Double D Estrogen Power Hour, where D and I kind of just hit on each other for like 3 hours.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah,
consent is key,
consent is
people.
okay.
Everything is
Yeah,
about consent. Absolutely.
yeah.
Um, yes. All right. So going back to this, I'm number
Please read
2 of
your
4
story. I'll stop
sisters.
talking.
I
I'm
had
gonna
a
mute.
good childhood in terms of having good food to eat, nice clothes, education, etc. I didn't have a good childhood in terms of a loving environment, though. My dad screamed at my mom all the time, called her names, compared us to other kids. These are just a couple of things. There's a lot more. And of course, he was always right and could never be wrong. He did a lot of charity and helped other people, so mom would always say what a good guy he is and how we should be grateful for him. Me and my sisters also managed to ignore everything when we were younger and didn't know better. A few years ago, there was a situation, I don't know how else to put it, with my older sister that finally made my mom take off her rose colored glasses and she filed for divorce. I have limited contact with my dad now. He has a new girlfriend who he's been with for about a year. I've met her once and she did seem nice, but I just don't want much to do with him. Not that long ago, his girlfriend DM'd me asking if I'd like to meet up with her for coffee and that she wanted to talk to me. So I said okay, and we had lunch a few days ago. She asked me why I'm so distant from dad and if it's something that she did or if she made us feel uncomfortable. And she would like to get to know us and clear the air. I said it's not anything like that and it has nothing to do with her. I eventually told her about what type of dad he was, how he treated my mom, and all of that. She seemed sort of shocked at first, and I think she thought I was exaggerating. I didn't really know what to say, so I just replied that this is what he was like with us, and this is why I limit contact. She obviously talked to dad about this, and he called me asking why I said that to his girlfriend. I replied, well, she asked for the truth, so I told her the truth. But he said he's upset that I tried to make him look bad and that I'm being one sided. I wouldn't care what he thinks, but my younger sister thinks I shouldn't have told her all that and just let them be. Am I the asshole?
No. I agree with what Dave said. Like the stepmom sounds sweet. Like she's just trying to get to know her.
Yeah.
Um, was open. I don't think it's the I think daughter's fault is how I took that. I don't know if it's that,
No.
but um, for wanting, I mean, thankfully she was willing at least enough to go meet
To
the
like have the
stepmom or the
conversation.
girlfriend
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, to at least have that conversation. But I completely understand the like her coming home and going, "Hey, what the fuck is going on here?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And if dad has changed more, the better. Keeps him accountable, absolutely.
Right.
100% it keeps him accountable. And may bring up things that like he didn't necessarily know was an issue. Which I think is important too.
Right.
Uh,
Exactly. The stepmom asked, she answered the question. True.
right. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think not enough stepmoms out there are aware of boundaries like that. So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that she was willing to learn, try to help figure out and,
Yeah,
see, can we facilitate? Like, I want to have a relationship with you. Like, what can I do to maybe try to help?
absolutely. I absolutely
Which I think
respect
is
that,
very sweet. Yeah.
that she reached out and was like, hey, I don't know what's happening. I would love to, have a relationship with you if you're willing. And then
Right.
let the daughter, stepdaughter, whatever. I mean, I don't know. She's just the girlfriend, so they're not married yet. So I don't know what that
Yeah.
technical term is.
Yeah.
But like let her be the one to set the rules.
Yeah,
If the dad is
absolutely.
upset that the girlfriend now knows about it, like, sorry, you should have been upset that that was your behavior, dude. Like, you're the
Yeah,
reason.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
maybe took a good hard look in the mirror, but it doesn't sound like he wants to do any of that. Um,
Right. And it doesn't
so that
sound like
sucks.
the daughter was malicious in what she said. She just kind of was like very
No.
matter of fact, like this is the way that he treated me, and I'm not here for it. And that
And I mean, we
I
are
think
only seeing
fully
her side of the story. Maybe she went
right.
off on a 10-minute tangent about how much of a fucking jackass he was. And
Right.
like, which would also be kind of fine. You can't
Yeah.
ask somebody a
Yeah.
question like that, like, "Hey, why don't you have a good relationship with your dad? Tell me about that." And then expect
Yeah.
them to be like, to not just tell you why the fuck they don't have a good relationship.
Right. Right. And at
Also, if
least the
you don't have
mom
a good
wasn't.
relationship with someone, then you have to know why, and you definitely
Yeah.
fucking do. It wasn't that he was mad that she's upset. He was mad that
Yeah.
she told somebody.
She told. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And in particular his girlfriend.
right. Who he's probably still trying to, like, do all the sweet sort of pull you in kinda shit
Right.
too before
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
all that
You
comes
know that
out.
that's always the case with that. And
Mhm.
I've read a lot of stories like this too, where the stepmom or the girlfriend will then turn around and break up with the dad, or most of the cases are, that type of a relationship. Occasionally I'll read one where it's, the mom is the one being the asshole in it, but,
Right,
um, and the dad is trying to facilitate a good relationship or the new stepdad, whatever. But yeah, it
right.
just,
Mhm.
thankfully, I mean, thankfully the girlfriend or stepmom, however the relationship really is,
Yeah,
it sounds like she's at least just trying to be helpful and not push the boundary too hard for the daughter either.
right. Well, and I appreciate
Um,
that she was like, "Did I do something wrong? Like, is it something that I can
yeah,
fix? I don't wanna be the
yeah,
reason that you don't have a relationship with your dad."
which is very fair,
Yeah,
I think. I mean,
absolutely.
that's the way that I look at it, in somewhat like not even a similar situation, but just being the girlfriend of a guy with kids. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, we were just talking about the next time I go down there, and I'm like, well, hey, like it'll fall on a weekend that you might have your daughter. If you guys decide that you want me to wait and come on like Sunday night, I can do that too. Like whatever works, because I'm not here to take away your time together as much as I want to meet her and like hang out, whatever.
Right.
Uh, which I think is a decent enough way to handle it. I mean, maybe it's not the
Yeah,
perfect way to deal with it, but what's working for me right now,
right.
as just but maybe it's partially because too, like having being that I'm not like the full time parent for my kid. Maybe I have a different mindset and view on
Mhm.
other like parent child relationships. I don't know,
Maybe.
but
I did just like this one
good on Steph.
comment that was really funny that said, "Not the asshole, you're his daughter, not his PR manager." Which I was
Fucking
like,
right.
"That's fucking yeah. Amen."
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
it wasn't like I said. It doesn't sound like the daughter was being malicious. It sounds like she was, just like, hey, this is why.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts. Like, no, we
You're
don't
free to
need
make
help.
your
No, it
choice.
wasn't nothing you did. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Make your judgments the way that you want to make them.
Mhm.
But this is how I feel on my side of the situation, and then she can go back and talk to
Yeah.
the dad and see what his side of the situation is.
Right.
Because even in child parent relationships, it's again like I use the analogy all the time of figuring out like who broke a vase because
Right.
kid A is going to tell one story, kid B is going to tell a different story, and the truth is always somewhere in the middle. And parent child relationships can be that way too.
Yeah.
Still, as an adult with my parents, I have that kind of a relationship
Mhm.
from time to time. Um, but yeah, it just
Yeah.
dad needs to shut the fuck up and deal with
Right.
that. Dad sounds like one of those people that never takes accountability for his actions in a situation. And that's such an awful way to live for everybody around you. And you're going to end up being very lonely later in life if you don't learn
Yeah.
how to come out of that scenario.
Right.
And it's not easy, and it's something you have to constantly be aware of. But yeah,
Yeah.
I hate when people play the perpetual victim and like don't take accountability for their actions and situations.
Yeah. Big same.
That's a big thing in our household right now too with Matt is taking accountability.
Yeah.
And
It
I'm not
has to
great at
be.
it either. There are times that I want to pretend like I didn't do shit wrong too, but
I mean, I
sometimes
think
you
there are
have to.
some things that we can all be like, "Oh, no, I didn't flood the toilet. That wasn't me.
Right,
Why
yeah,
would I
that
do that?"
totally wasn't me, or
You know what
I
I mean?
didn't, break
Like
my windshield wipers because I forgot to put them up and then I just decided to turn on
right.
the motor instead of letting it thaw or
Yeah.
scrape the windshield off, like that's on me. Um,
Right.
but yeah, yeah, there's very much those like, oh no, that wasn't me. I totally put them up. Damn bird must have fell on my windshield and plopped them back down or something. Like,
Mhm. Exactly. Yeah.
um, all right.
Oh,
I've got one more, I
okay.
think.
Go for it.
Am I the asshole for telling my friend to shut up about babies being expensive?
I mean, they are, but
They are
continue.
very expensive.
Yeah. As I'm learning.
It says, my boyfriend and I are currently trying for a baby, and my friend Annalise knows that. Annalise talked a lot about wanting children in the past, but she stopped about a year ago, saying that children are too expensive, which is fine. It's all her choice, but she and her husband make a lot of money. So it's not true that they couldn't afford to raise a child. They go on
Mhm.
some many vacations, and even just going on one less per year could cover a baby is expensive. She and a few other friends and I were hanging out, and one of them asked if she still doesn't want children. Annalise went on and on about how she can't afford it because a child needs this and that. Private school tutoring, a big house, and then a gift house when she or he graduates uni, etc. I'm sorry. What kind of parents does this girl think she needs to be? I didn't get shit. Anyway,
Yeah.
and she thinks it would be beyond irresponsible to have a baby when she can't provide everything for it. She said all of this while I was sitting next to her. Can I help you? Okay.
Yeah, puppies.
Fully knowing that I'm about to have a baby with much less money and as a renter. At first, I just told her that babies don't cost that much, and she can definitely afford one. But then she kept insisting that a couple needs to make at least X amount, and I just straight off told her to shut up. She makes 2 to 3 times as much as she does, or as much as we do, so shut up.
Mhm.
Annalise
Fair.
said that she was just answering the question and she was asked, and she's not trying to push her views on us. But isn't she when she literally said, I'm being irresponsible? Am I the asshole? I don't think,
So,
I think in premise, she's not the asshole. I think she's an asshole for her execution of the issue. Is how
yeah,
I would,
probably.
for lack of better wording. You know what I
Eh.
mean?
I mean, just telling someone to shut up, I don't think really makes you an asshole, mostly because I tell people to shut up all the time.
No, but
But
I don't think it's the saying that I'm irresponsible. No, I think Annalise was saying she would feel it irresponsible to have a child without being able to provide these things. I
I'm
don't
gonna
know
step
that
into
she
wild speculation territory here.
right.
I think that Annalise is saying that because she wants to have kids, but her husband doesn't. And so
Maybe.
she's using the justification of, "Oh, they're just so expensive, we can't afford it." Meanwhile, it's more of like a he's kinda decided they're not gonna have
Uh,
kids so they can continue living their lifestyle the way it is. And so that's why she keeps being
yeah.
like, "Oh, you have to pay for this," and she keeps adding more onto the plate.
Yeah.
That and again, this is just wild speculation on my part, but to me, it sounds like someone who has not come to terms with a decision that's been made,
Yeah.
um, and
And
is
this is another
feeling
this
some type of way
comment
towards a friend.
kind of is another one that could be it, but they said, I think the friend might have problems conceiving with her husband, so she's making excuses to avoid
Yeah.
explaining her situation.
Yeah, which is what
That
Dave
it
just put in
says,
the chat too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very much so. OP, you're the asshole. Your friend wasn't attacking you directly. However, you attacked her because of your insecurities about your financial circumstances, which I get. I mean, I remember reading the stat like when I was pregnant that in 2008, it was if a baby is born in 2008, you could plan on spending at least $1 million in the first 18 years.
Oh, yeah.
$1 million. I read that. I was 22 years old, unmarried, not a planned pregnancy, not an unwanted pregnancy, but not a planned one,
Right.
And it hasn't been easy, and yeah, they are expensive, but
They are.
yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I think she's probably realizing too, by Annalise bringing up all of the different expenses that maybe she didn't think about. I mean, do your kids need private school and tutoring? No. Do
No,
they need a house upon graduation from university? No.
no.
Um, do you need to have a plan for if they end up needing additional help or occupational therapy? I mean, that happened to us. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, there are always additional expenses that pop up when you
Diapers are fucking
least expect them
expensive.
and can least afford them.
Yeah.
Um, if she
So yeah,
doesn't
it
have
does sound
enough
like
money, yeah,
OP took it a little bit personally because of the whole money comments, and,
right,
like, it
which I
wasn't
get.
necessary. But at the same time, like, the friend Annalise is also kinda being an asshole for just going on about, like, "Oh, it's super irresponsible when you know someone else in the room is actively trying to conceive." Like, that's kind of an
Right.
asshole thing to do too, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And I
Like
can get why it would feel like she was saying you're being irresponsible because,
right,
you can't meet all of the things that I feel are necessities.
right.
Um, but yeah, it says this one says OP is projecting, just saying that
Mhm.
technically kids don't cost as much as the friend is saying. Sounds like the friend is saying certain things are needed, however, it isn't. She just wants that type of lifestyle for her future children, which I think is a good way to plan for it too. I mean, you definitely can want to have a certain lifestyle for your child
Right.
or children. But yeah,
I mean, I don't want kids ever, but I would never tell anyone else not to have them, just like I wouldn't want someone telling me, "Oh, well, you'll change your mind." Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, 100%. And it's still. I mean, I remember growing up and like all I wanted to do was be a wife and a mother. Still did both. Oh,
Well,
I mean, all parents I think fail and succeed. It's just that ebb and flow.
yeah.
Um, but that was also what I was like raised. I mean, you were raised in every movie. It was mom and dad, or some tragic backstory between why was one of them wasn't there.
Right.
Uh, and so being in the like age range where not having kids is more common and accepted, and like I look at it now and go, yeah, fucking. Would I have a kid now all over again? No, I don't. Like, I'm good without having more kids. Kids are great, but I don't want any more in my life than I have,
Yeah, right.
Um, especially not like going through the baby stage again.
Oh god, that's the worst.
It can sometimes
Mm.
be like the best. Like, there's nothing to me, there's no better feeling than like a newborn or infant falling asleep on you. But
There's a
at
lot of
that same
cuteness.
time, I don't want to be up all night dealing with a crying baby. Like, let
I
me rock
don't
the
wanna
baby to
change
sleep and then
shitty
I'm going to go home.
diapers all
Yeah.
day. I don't wanna
Yeah.
do that.
Like, then let me go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, yeah,
So,
I
I
get
mean, I
that.
don't know. I don't think that she's particularly an asshole. I don't think she's not, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's a gray area with me. They're both kinda acting kinda shitty to each other because they're projecting their own shit onto each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh,
They're
I hope
both
they do.
projecting very much.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right. Well, I think with that, we should jump into our activity for the day. So,
Yeah.
producer Dave, you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and explain what we're going to get into today?
Hi. So we all
Since I
interact
just saw
with
your last message, sorry.
we all interact with a variety of products every day, a lot of which have hidden features, or things that used to be features, and there are remnants of those still hanging on. That
Okay.
very few people know why they exist, but if you really think about it, some of them are, well, at least they make sense.
Right.
For
Okay.
instance, you're all familiar with the standard knit cap, right? Did you
Right.
know
Yes.
that the pom pom on it used to have a use?
For
Hey, wait, what was it? I'm sorry. What had a use?
Why do some modern knit caps come with pom
Yeah.
poms? What was the reason for the inclusion of the pom poms when the hat was designed?
I'm going
You
to
used to
say
know what the fuck.
for Uh, I don't know.
I used to
It
know
makes
what
it easier
this
to take
was.
off. Like if you like when you back in the days when you had those thicker gloves, you could just yink.
Yeah,
I could see that. I see where your
yeah,
head's at. That's not why, but that is a good
yeah. That's a good thought
conclusion
process.
to draw.
I'm
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
gonna tell me what it actually is, and I'm gonna be like, I fucking knew that, but I can't think of what it actually was.
Yeah, I'm curious.
So
Yeah.
pom-poms, according to my sources, were first used by French sailors so that if they knocked the top of their head against the ship in rough water, it would be a
Yes.
cushion.
Yep.
It's literally like an airbag.
Interesting.
That's
Okay.
funny.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
But I'm like, because I've always wondered that. And I
That
saw
checks
this
out.
and I'm like, yo,
Yeah, it
that
was
makes so
protective.
much sense.
I didn't know that like they had them back on ships back then. You know what I mean? I guess I always associate them more with colder climates and not
With
with
like
like a head
skiers and stuff.
protective
Yeah.
matter. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Oh, our next one is on the subject of schoolwork. So notebook paper.
Okay.
You remember the school ruled notebook paper that we all used, and
Yep.
then we got to high school and we had to use college ruled paper, and we're like,
Yeah.
oh
Wide
no,
rolled
we
versus
have to
college
put
rolled.
so much more words here
Hmm.
than we used to fill a line.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But margins have
Right.
nothing to do with determination of the content of the page. Do you know why margins were originally included in, say,
They were
letterhead?
something to do because it's not like hole punching and stapling space. I don't think. Isn't it something to do with like taking notes or editing them?
No.
Okay.
That makes sense, and that's a common use for margins now, but no.
Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say it makes for like neater numbering when you're putting stuff in the column, like making a
Yeah.
grocery list and it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, actually, manufacturers began to apply margins to writing paper for the purpose of protecting your work. Earlier on in history, rats were a common resident in many people's homes, and one of their favorite snacks was your paper, in addition to everything else
Interesting.
they could munch on. Applying wide margins to paper safeguarded against losing important work by leaving blank spaces around the edges for the rats to chew through first, and to protect the writing on the outer edges from general wear
Oh,
and tear.
nasty. That's
So
so
kids used to
nasty.
say the rats ate my homework versus the dog ate my homework.
Dog ate
Got
my
Yeah,
it.
homework.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Okay. We haven't gotten either one of these right.
No, I
No, but
haven't.
they're
Yeah.
all things that you're
I
like,
knew the one that
that
he
makes
gave us as an
sense.
example.
Yeah.
D, I think you might know this one.
Ooh, okay. Pressure.
So the half belt on the back of coats and jackets
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're talking the cinch.
that used to be there for a reason. Can either of you guess what it was? I will say that it first became a dominant feature on military coats.
Was it a spot to like put your weapon?
No, but that
Okay.
makes sense.
Some sense, right? Like, or like
Yeah.
to keep it attached to your
Mhm.
back more, so it didn't like.
I was gonna say so that people could like hold on to each other as they're riding into
Yeah,
battle.
hold on to you or move
No, but that
you if
also
Move you,
needed.
makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But originally they were used on oversized military jackets that could double as a blanket. And the belt was meant to bunch
Oh.
the fabric in the back to keep people from tripping over it.
Makes sense.
Interesting.
Sort of like a one size fits all approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Scottish kilts, like traditional Scottish kilts, are much the same. It's not only a kilt,
Yeah.
it can also be a tent, a blanket, 800 other things that you can do with a kilt on a
Right.
Saturday afternoon.
Right.
Right. Interesting.
Okay.
All right. So I'm sure both of you are familiar with buying new clothing that comes with a little, like, cellophane bag with a button and a swatch of cloth in it.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know why that exists? Commonly, people think it's so you have a replacement button or so that you have something that you can use as a patch for that garment.
No, it was like to test the fabric, like for cleaning or for bleeding or for cleaning the
Yes,
fabric or something.
100%. It's included so you
Yeah.
can figure out how to wash it.
Yeah, yeah. At least with the extra swatch of fabric. I think the buttons are there just
The
as
buttons are a
extra buttons,
replacement.
but
Yeah.
or
Well,
if one was
certain kinds of
damaged or
buttons
not
can
there. Yeah.
discolor some fabrics too, though. Like brass buttons
Mhm.
will fuck up white shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's
Yay,
fair.
I knew one. Did you know that, T?
Yay. No. I
Okay.
didn't.
I remembered that one.
So this was one
Unlike
that I previously knew, but I don't know if I knew it because I'm a nerd or not.
Okay.
Fair.
Do you know why some coins come equipped with ridges and where ridges on coins started initially?
I mean, I think
I've
it's
heard them.
because they are more useful for like certain games and stuff, like the little grippies. You need them for when you're playing quarters or other things.
Wasn't it something to do with machine? Like, no, it wasn't the machine. It was something to do with smooth edges were easier to counterfeit? Is that what
Kind of. You're on the right idea.
kind of, yeah.
So they
Okay.
started implementing ridges on coins back in the days when the weight of the coin determined its value. So they would mince a bunch of coins in a standard weight, but sneaky thieves would just clip a little off the edge.
Yeah.
And eventually you'd have a pile of whatever this precious metal is that you could sell.
Yeah.
Putting
Interesting.
ridges on the edges of coins made that no longer a thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
However, in some places, the ridges on coins are just a standby from that. It's tradition to make coins with ridges.
Right.
But some places, and I couldn't find any, like, this is anecdotal evidence. I couldn't find any actual place that does this.
Right.
But some places have started changing the ridges on the sides of their coin to make them more easily identifiable by visually impaired people.
Which is, yeah, I think I had
sense.
heard that at some point too, which makes sense.
That's helpful.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. What's the next one?
All right. Did you know, and this one's pretty common knowledge, I think they did a commercial on it about 4 years ago, but Heinz 57 ketchup. Every real bottle of Heinz 57 ketchup has a 57 embossed in the glass on the side of the bottle. Do you know what that 57 is for?
It's the tapping point to get it to flow easily out of the bottle.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's according to their marketing. Your results may vary wildly.
Well, that's like the salt and pepper, like the glass salt and pepper shakers. You're supposed to be able to do this and get the salt to come out without
because of the grippies on the bottom and acts like the vibration helps it fall out. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Any more?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know why some toothpastes come as white toothpaste with red and blue stripes?
It did serve a purpose at one point.
Aquafresh started it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I used to like Aquafresh.
I want to say it was like to identify what had fluoride or like other chemicals in it, but I don't think it's true. I think that
I'm assuming it's for chemical reaction, like when they're all separated. Once you mix them together, that's when it does its best work.
That's a good idea.
So it does have to do with different chemicals. So in the 1970s, cleaning the mouth to keep it healthy wasn't enough. People wanted something in the toothpaste to freshen the breath. Aquafresh
Right.
answered that call by adding a blue stripe to their paste to indicate that it could do both. After people began paying more attention to the health of their gums, the brand added a third red stripe to their product, indicating that their paste now had triple action: cleaning, freshening, and plaque control.
Mm,
So
Oh,
they are
okay.
indicative of changes
kind of.
in toothpaste, but the colors themselves are just a marketing ploy. And of
Yeah.
course, everybody
Yeah.
else
Yeah.
followed suit because Aquafresh was the big brand like through the 70s and the first part of the 80s.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I found that because I always just thought it was a design choice, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to find
Yeah.
out like that there was this whole like marketing strategy behind it and shit was
Right.
crazy. You have both flown on a plane, yes?
Yes.
Did you happen to
Dramatically
have a
for one of
window
us.
seat?
Yes, I've been in a window seat before.
I
Did
have
you
also
happen
been
to
in one.
notice that your window had holes in it?
Yes.
No.
And it's something about the pressure of
Yeah. It's so that the pressure
pressurization.
differential
Yeah.
doesn't get too great and blow out the sides of the cabin. Yeah. No,
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
I've never looked for holes in an airplane. I'm gonna be honest with you.
The first
Yeah,
time I
just
got
find
on
one
an
in your
airplane,
window.
that's all I did.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, because they found that when it was solid, yeah, the pressure got too much and the windows would like blow out or
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Hey,
Blow
so
in, I guess.
that teeny little pocket on the side of your jeans, what the
Mhm.
fuck was that for?
Watches.
I was gonna say coins.
No, it was pocket
Or
watches.
Yeah.
But Levi's attests
condoms.
that it has served more purposes throughout the years, like storing coins, matches, and tickets, and my addition was going to be and condoms.
Yeah.
Okay, so we both got it right. Watches
Yeah.
and coins.
Yeah.
But originally it was designed to hold pocket
For
watches.
watches,
Though the
yeah.
modern pocket
It's so
that
small.
they sew in would not fit a pocket watch.
Yeah.
No.
Not at all.
Not
Not
even
at all.
close.
But
I have
dude,
somewhere
let's not
have
even get
one
on
of
the
my
topic
grandma's
of
pocket
girls'
watches.
pockets. Disappointment.
There was one more.
Right.
Oh, here it is. Do you know why Toblerone is shaped the way it is? It has a purpose.
Does it have to do with the way that the chocolate and the cacao like layers?
No,
Okay.
it is
Is
100% functional. Has nothing to do with taste.
functional.
Functional as in the way you eat it?
Yes.
Is it because it breaks less? Oh, okay. I was gonna say
It's okay. So
I very rarely
Toblerone-
get a broken Toblerone.
That's
Well,
very true.
a Toblerone is designed to be held in one hand, and its nominal breaking point happens at the separation between each piece, primarily
Yeah.
if you push the tip of one toward the tip of another.
It
It will
just
break
yeah.
there,
Okay.
allowing you to break the candy and eat it a small piece at a time with one hand.
Oh, yeah.
Something you can't do with any other chocolate bar. You either have to take bites out of it, or like with a Hershey bar, you need two hands to break those squares up.
That's very fair. Yeah.
Hmm.
Good point.
Okay. Learning
Interesting.
something. Yeah.
And that's all we had.
That's
Like
it?
there are some honorable mentions here. Like the brushes on the sides of escalators. Do you know what they're for?
Cleaning your shoes.
Uh
No, isn't
would
it supposed to help keep your shoelaces out of them or something?
yeah, prevent stuff from falling down in there and clogging up the
Yeah.
So
machine.
kind
Something
of.
like that.
It's a psychological safety measure. People stand farther away from the edges with the brushes sticking out.
Interesting.
So they're less likely to get shit like shoelaces or articles of clothing, loose pants, etc. caught in the escalator.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It serves no actual purpose other than to be a
It's-
visual thing of, oh, I need to stand away
Yeah.
from that.
Right.
Hmm.
'Cause you don't want it touching you.
Right.
Right,
Because
yeah.
it feels icky. Another one is,
Fair.
do you know why long neck bottles, like think traditional beer bottle shape, why are they shaped like that?
Doesn't it have to do with like the amount of air, almost an aerating feature to drinking the beer?
I thought it had to do with fermentation.
Also has nothing to do with fermentation.
Interesting. Okay.
However, the shape of a wine bottle is very important to how wine racks
Right.
off. So I
Yeah.
could see that correlation
Yeah.
because they're both undistilled fermented drinks.
Yeah.
No, it is 100% down to this is the easiest way to get a small cap on the end of a bottle while keeping the bottle from becoming overpressurized from the inside and like having a like fracture point where pressure could fuck
Oh,
with
sure.
it.
Yeah.
It's 100% down to how do we make small opening on big bottles, small opening more efficient.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
that's cool.
that's why you end up with the same size bottle cap on a 40 or, a 12
Right.
ounce bottle.
It cuts down on manufacturing costs too, which is nice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Always
But yeah,
trying to save a buck.
like this shape has existed from back in the days of wax sealing when it was much more important to have, something sturdy. So like they would intentionally, like I don't even think they were molding glass yet. I think this goes back to like blown glass days.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does. Oh.
But yeah, just a couple interesting honorable mentions. And that's
Yeah.
that's pretty much all I had. But these are all things that like we deal with every day and have all these like little hidden tricks behind them or like
Yeah.
secret stories. And I saw
That's
this
Yeah.
article and I went, yo, a lot of this shit is real, and it's stuff we use all the goddamn time, like toothpaste,
Yeah.
or jeans.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, like there's another one on here about the rivet on jeans. Do you know why the rivet's there?
Because it's the weakest part of the jeans, so the rivets are there to help keep like the pockets and stuff from breaking apart from the material.
Actually,
the
yeah,
denim.
it's where the weakest
That
point
one
of
I
all the
just
fabric
learned.
joins are. So they just layer them and rivet it all together.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, Chris, I like that show too. And how you can learn about how things different
Yeah.
are
Now,
made
now
and why.
did I lie
Yeah.
when I told you it would be an edutainment section?
You
No.
did not.
No.
Thank you.
Entertainment is key.
Yeah.
I do like that though.
Well, and like,
Well.
okay, one more because this it goes down to like internet and typing history, right?
Okay.
The standard keyboard layout in North America is QWERTY. Do you
Right.
know why the standard keyboard layout in North America is QWERTY instead of perhaps alphabetical order or some other order? And there are actually 3 parts to this.
I
I mean,
think
it's
it had
supposed
to
to
do
make
a
sense.
lot with for like the most used letters are in certain positions.
Are
You
within
know
your
all
like
3 reasons? Oh, or was that
middle
just
and index fingers. It's
yeah.
supposed to be for easy
Yeah, it was
movement so you can type as quickly as possible.
Right.
That's what I thought it was.
And that is why we landed on QWERTY. That's one of the
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah, that's one of them.
The original
But I don't know the other 2.
keyboard layout on like back on typewriters was just alphabetical. The
Okay.
problem was having keys arranged in alphabetical order. Once typists ended up getting good at typing, the arms that actually stamped the letters onto the page
Yeah.
would start to tangle with each other.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
sure.
The
Yeah,
keys
they
The
would jam
keys
like
would literally
said.
jam. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
because you were typing your typing speed went higher than what the keys could.
Right. They're crossing over each
which
other
makes
too
sense.
much. too.
Yeah. Yeah, which makes a lot of sense.
There were 2 other standards in competition with QWERTY. And one of them is
Okay.
actually a superior standard that once someone gets accustomed to it, somebody who types at 120 words per minute in QWERTY would type at almost 500 words per minute in this other standard.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, again, they were typing so fast that no
Right.
matter what order the keys were in, the keys were jamming.
Yeah.
QWERTY allowed for, at the time, the fastest typing speed, just
also not
short of
having a
when the
problem.
just short of breaking the machine.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Interesting.
That is very
That's
interesting.
cool, G, though, that you had an old typewriter. Sucks though that you had to untangle that shit. That sounds like
Yeah.
a pain in the ass.
Oh, it's kind of fun though,
Ours
because
was-
then you get to see how it works. We had one too. My first
Yeah,
school
we have
report that I had to submit that was typed was on a typewriter, and then we got a word processor.
mine too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had them too,
We
but I
used to have
think
to write
ours
them all
all
the
had
time.
QWERTY. Maybe not though.
I
Oh yeah,
don't.
no,
I wish
all
I
of ours
could
had
remember
QWERTY
what
too.
ours had.
Like
Yeah.
it wasn't that old. We had QWERTY.
Yeah.
Like we're talking, like age of rail is when
Yeah.
these decisions were being made.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, ours wouldn't get tangled as much as it would like skip letters every
Mm.
so often, and like you could never get it lined up right to try to fill that in, and my OCD did not like having a typewriter.
Yeah, we had like a bunch of ribbon problems with ours.
Yeah.
The word
Like the
processor
ribbon
was nice
tension.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
the
had
word
one of those too.
processors were nice.
I think my parents still have it.
Do
That's
they?
not true. We had a computer lab from the time I was in 4th grade.
Yeah.
That's sooner than I had one.
Yeah. I think 5th grade is when we really started like typing, where it was like a class kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think
I doubt they even teach typing in schools anymore because it's just something everybody learns now as they get
Yeah.
older.
I don't know.
Well, or they were teaching typing more than like writing. And my argument was like, Matt is of the generation where, he's had an iPad, a school iPad since kindergarten.
Yeah.
And they, back in my day, Bree says, you're the youngest out of all of us, Bree. At least here right now.
Dude, they gave you pencil and paper. I had a slate and a piece of chalk.
I had an abacus, okay? So,
Abacus Finch?
but yeah.
I read that book.
Yeah. I do remember actually learning math. It was like a weird day in school where we just learned how to actually use an abacus. I don't remember how to do it, but we
Yeah,
did learn them.
we did too.
But yeah, the typing class. Oh no, what I was gonna say with Matt having the iPad and like not learning writing skills, I've said the whole time like you should get an Apple Pencil with your school iPad, or something of that, because at least then you're learning how to hold a pencil, trace the
Right.
letters, because like they also taught just tracing, but he was tracing everything with just his finger. I'm like, that's not going to teach you how to actually write, and like we're not at a point yet where you don't have to write things by hand.
Yeah.
You also took a week on bookkeeping, writing checks, reading, and balancing checkbooks. I didn't learn
Damn.
like
What school
the
did you go to? That's awesome.
writing checks and balancing checkbooks until high school. That was like part of what was like my psych and development class.
We
Well,
never
Mac.
learned any of that. They
Okay.
did not
Yeah.
teach us. They were like,
Okay.
they'll figure it
So in
out.
my high school, you know what class you had to take to learn anything about bookkeeping, writing checks, balancing a checkbook, any of that? They called it functional mathematics.
Yeah.
That's accurate.
They also had a
Math?
functional mathematics 2 where they taught you about taxes and the stock market.
Gross.
Yeah, we had none of that.
And I'm
Matt.
like, no. You should learn about taxes as just part of your education.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, why do you have to
Absolutely.
go through another tier of another thing you should just fucking learn?
No.
Yeah.
The government should just automatically, they know what we owe, and tax companies like TurboTax are the reason why we have to do fucking taxes. We shouldn't actually have to do them, and in a lot of other developed countries, they aren't doing their taxes.
Right.
Because the government is just like, it's 14% of your fucking income. You made this much, that's 14%. You're done, asshole. Like,
Oh,
it's
no,
because of lobbyists
I'm
got
100
control. Like,
I'm
we shouldn't have to learn
100% for
taxes
a
because we
flat-
shouldn't have to do them ourselves.
We should
But
have a
that's
flat
whole other
tax
thing.
rate. I agree.
Yeah.
We should have a flat tax
Something.
rate.
Yeah. It is way
And
too.
honestly, 14% is super reasonable.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's really low.
It don't
is.
even fucking get me started.
Because when I was when I was with the electricians union, I'll use that one as an example, because that doesn't have like self-employment stuff and stuff rolled in. Do you know what my tax was? 34%.
Damn.
34% was my tax liability.
Damn. That's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's not
oh,
like,
that's so
well, and
funny.
people are like, well, yeah, but you were making like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. No, I made like $60,000 a year. And I had to give 20 of that to the government.
That's crazy.
People
Yeah,
wonder
that's
why you can't fucking make a
super.
living.
That's
Yeah.
super funny
Yeah.
that someone on TikTok is trying to have a challenge of writing words without lifting the pen off the paper.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
that's literally
Yeah,
just
try
cursive.
writing this sentence, whatever, without lifting the pen off the sheet of paper. And I was like, dude, that's just fucking cursive writing. That's
Yeah.
and
Was it
somebody
a
else I
sentence or a
saw.
word?
It was like a sentence. Well, like I think the TikTok was about a word, but essentially, like it was like writing your name or something without taking the pen off the paper.
Dude, can we all agree the word banana in cursive looks fucking bonkers?
No.
Oh yeah,
It looks
I can get
fine.
that.
It's super
No, it
normal.
looks insane. It looks like it's
Xanax
Well, it
written
depends
looks
on
for
how
more
her pleasure
insane.
and it came to fuck.
Xanax looks more insane. Think about the word Xanax in cursive.
Oh God, you're right.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, with that, we are going to move on to our last second. So, Dave, you
Yeah.
can go back to muting yourself.
Okay, bye.
Please
We're
do.
goodbye. Thank you. That was a lot of fun. That was actually super
That was fun.
edutaining.
Minimum does
Edutaining.
look crazy in cursive too. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that was a fun activity. I liked that.
it was. It was good.
Um,
All right. So, to wrap up our show, we are going to talk about this week's Femme Fatale, which is a personal one of mine. Like, I was the one that got to pick it. And I just really love her.
No, I'm
Um,
totally on board for it. I'm upset that I hadn't
okay.
thought about her before.
Right? Ugh.
I was, yeah,
This week-
you put that in the chat. I was like, what the fuck has been happening? Where have we been?
This week, we're going to discuss Lauren Graham, who everyone should fucking know who this is. But she
her.
was the star of the Gilmore Girls. She played Lorelai Gilmore, the older Lorelai, because they're both named
Yeah,
Lorelai.
Mom.
She's also been on Parenthood. She played Sarah Braverman in Parenthood. She's also been in a bunch of other stuff. She was in Evan Almighty and Bad Santa and a bunch of other stuff.
Which changed my fucking view on her whole time.
Yeah,
Your mom. Oh my god. Right.
she was my
Great.
favorite character. Yeah.
Yeah. I
look
love
great.
her. in
I
Gilmore
watched
Girls.
Gilmore Girls. In fact,
Yeah, I watched.
like you guys
Gilmore
can't see it
Girls.
behind me this way, but I have
Like
the
my favorite
entire
show of
DVD.
all time. Yeah, I
Like,
have all 7 seasons. Yeah,
yeah, same. I love it. It's so good. It's so
it
good.
is.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about her. She was born March 16th, 1967 in Honolulu, Hawaii, which I did not know.
Oh, I didn't know she was born in Honolulu. Yeah.
I didn't either. She was born to her mother, Donna Grant, who was a fashion buyer, and her father, Lawrence Graham, who is a candy industry lobbyist and had been the president of the National Confectioners Association, which I didn't know that existed until just now.
Yeah.
I think that's incredible.
Yeah. That's funny.
However, when she was 5 years old, her parents divorced and she moved to Virginia and actually went to school very near to where I went to school. She went to Langley High School.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Which is kind of cool. I didn't know that she had lived so close to me for so much of her life. Her mom then went to pursue a music career in London, and that's actually where she lived until she died, which was very interesting. I don't think the music career worked out because she went back to fashion. She has
Okay.
a couple of half siblings. So she has a half sister and a half brother from her father's second marriage, as well as a British half sister from her mother's second marriage, Shade Grant, who works at a talent agency, which just all very fascinating to me. I was like reading it. I was like, oh, wow. Look. She wanted to be a jockey growing up, like riding horses, but she's too tall. So they were like, you can't, which devastating. Having your dreams shattered by being too tall. How upsetting. So then she decided to pursue acting instead. Like, okay, you were too tall to ride horses, so you just went the acting route. All right,
Right.
checks out. That's funny. Oh yeah, we need to finish our supernatural stuff.
Yeah,
Ginger,
we,
by the way.
we do.
It's been like a minute since we watched that. So she went to Barnard College. She originally went to New York University, then transferred to Barnard, and then after graduating, she got a degree in English literature. And then
Okay.
she went to Southern Methodist University in Texas to get her Master's of Fine Arts in acting. So, like, she's
Oh, she has a
doing a lot.
master's.
She has a
Awesome.
master's in acting, which is awesome. And then after that, she moved to New York City, where she began. Um, actually, she was a waitress and a tutor teaching SAT prep for the Princeton U while she like made her way to being famous. Um, she was the dog striker for the 1994 FIFA World Cup. So she was the mascot for the 1994 FIFA
Oh,
World Cup,
I was like,
named
why does
Striker.
the FIFA World Cup have? Okay,
It has a dog mascot named Striker, evidently.
no,
I
why my brain went, why does the World Cup have somebody striking dogs? That's not okay.
That's super not okay.
Get it. I
Super
get
duper
it
not
now. I
great.
follow.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down now.
All right. She was a guest star on Third Rock from the Sun. She was on
Love
Seinfeld.
that show.
She's been on Law
Was
and
she?
Order, because who hasn't? She was.
Right, that's true.
She was actually in an episode of Law and Order where Scott Cohen also played a part. Scott Cohen would later go on to be one of her love interests in Gilmore Girls. He played Max Medina, which is this interesting little full circle moment for them. Um, and then, of course, in 2000, she got Gilmore Girls, where she played Lorelai Gilmore, which everybody should know and love. If you don't love it, there's something fucking wrong with you. Um, just honestly. She had been nominated for Best Actress in a television series at the Golden Globe Awards in 2002, as well as nominations in the 2001 and 2002 SAG Awards. And then in the seventh season, throughout the rest of the season, she was a producer of Gilmore Girls. So for the last couple of seasons, she was able to produce, which is cool.
And I think
Um,
she directed at least one episode
she
too.
did. Yeah,
And I want to
absolutely.
say the few years later special that they did. I think
Hmm.
she directed that too, but that might be wrong.
Um, I believe, I don't know if it's in here. I'm trying to like scan for it really quick.
Yeah.
Because it says no. It doesn't say whether or not she did. But yeah, she actually obviously got a lot of press for that, and that's when she started getting roles in other major movies such as Sweet November, Bad Santa, The Pacifier, Because I Said So, Evan Almighty. She also was on Broadway. She was
Yep.
in the revival of Guys and Dolls at the Nederlander Theater
Yeah.
in 2009. She was also on The Bridget Show, previously known as Let It Go, which is funny, where she was a talk show host and self-help guru who fails to follow her own advice during a breakup, which is a bummer that didn't go on any further. But immediately after that,
Yeah.
she gets parenthood, so it all worked out in the end for her. Um, and then, yeah, she's done some other stuff too. Most recently, she was on the Disney Channel for their show, or their TV version, I should say, of The Mighty Ducks Game Changers, which I watched all of and loved all of, to be quite honest with you. I absolutely love it. It's a great show and everyone should watch it, because who doesn't love The Mighty Ducks? So, she has also written several books, which I did not know. So her debut novel was called Someday, Someday Maybe. It was released in 2013. It is a comedic novel that is a fictionalization of her experiences trying to become an actress in 1990s New York. It was a New York Times bestseller. She also signed a deal with Warner Bros. And Ellen DeGeneres' production company, Very Good Production, to adapt it into a TV series. And she wrote the screenplay for the pilot of that. In November of 2016, her second book was published, a collection of personal essays titled Talking as Fast as I Can, From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and Everything in Between.
Yeah.
Also a New York
I
Times
have that
bestseller.
book.
Oh,
I
nice.
love it. I haven't
She's
finished it yet, but it's fun.
okay. She also adapted the novel The Royal We into a screenplay for CBS Films.
Oh,
She has optioned the movie rights for the novel Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith, and also has a third book called Don't Worry About It, and it focuses on advice for graduates and reflections on staying true to yourself. And it was her
oh,
third New York Times bestseller. So
that's
not only is
awesome.
she an incredible
Such a
actress,
badass.
but she's written 3 New York Times bestsellers and has written several screenplays for both like full-length movies and television shows.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, as far as her personal life goes, she was in a relationship with Peter Krause from 2010 to 2021. They first met in 1995 when they were on Caroline in the City. And then they became a couple while co-starring on Parenthood. However, this past June, it is reported that they broke up after 11 years together, which is a bummer.
11 years. Wow.
Yeah. Um, and that's kind of it. We don't have like a lot of information on her philanthropy or anything like that. We usually like to talk
Yeah.
about that, but I couldn't find a whole lot of information. And regardless, I her.
Yeah,
She's
no,
been
and she
nominated for a
definitely
ton of
has
stuff,
done.
but she's only
Yeah,
won 2 Teen Choice Awards, which I think is a shame because I think she's brilliant.
that is a shame.
Right?
That is a shame. And I mean, and her ability, because she was still in Gilmore Girls, I think, when she did Bad Santa. And for
Yeah,
anybody that hasn't seen it, because it's kind of a mediocre movie,
kind of.
but hearing her go "fuck me, Santa" repeatedly, like it was one of those like mind meld moments where she's such the like an honest and like real character
Yeah,
mom in Gilmore Girls, and then to see her like be this total opposite character in Bad Santa was kind of
right?
this mind fuck moment.
Yeah,
Um, but like really good and daring of her as an actress to do that because she was playing this like wholesome character.
yeah. Also can
Yeah,
confirm that Dean sucks and Jess is the best.
yeah.
Dave, I just scrolled up and saw that comment in there. So,
Yeah, no, Jess was far superior to Dean. As much as I loved
yeah,
Dean, Dean served his purpose.
he
The
did.
older they got, the more I didn't like him. But I love Jared
Yeah.
Padalecki, don't get me wrong.
Well, and then there's
Um,
that whole messy situation with him being married and then coming
married,
back and
yeah, and
yeah.
her sleeping with him, yeah. And I I have a hard time between Logan and Jess though, if we want to get into Gilmore Girl. Like
Oh my god.
eh,
I
I love
don't.
them both
I
for
just
very different
do.
reasons.
Oh, he's such a rich,
And
entitled douche, and I can't. He gets better. He gets better. But like my
he does get
initial
a lot
impression of
better. I think
Logan
Rory
stuck with me
really
for too
helps
long.
Logan.
Yeah.
Dave just there is a reason why my dog is named Rory, and it is after Gilmore Girls. I've had exactly one person put that together. She was a puppy, like, and yeah, Logan Huntsberger. It's once she gets to
He's
Yale.
a rich blonde kid
He is.
who
But
convinces her to do bad things and fuck up her life.
no, yes, but no, because she needed
He's her
to.
Christopher,
He's her Christopher
which
in
is why I don't
every
like
which
him.
way. That's
Because
fair. I like him more
Christopher,
than I liked Christopher, though.
that's fair. Okay, that's fair. I can get. I am
Christopher
dying to
is
know.
Rory's dad.
Christopher's Roy's
Yeah,
dad. Um,
yeah,
which that's a whole other. It sounds like we do need to do a rewatch, basically.
yeah, yeah.
But
So
it's
if you're
so
down for
good.
that in the Discord, like let
Yeah,
us
let
know,
us
hit us
know.
up.
I will watch
Join
Gilmore
the
Girls
Discord if you're not a part
anytime.
of it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's so,
I
so
am
good.
here for Gilmore Girls rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Dee and I do watch Supernatural when we can. It's been a while, but
It has been
we
way
were
too long.
trying. But if you
Well,
want to
I'm
get
not
in on
allowed to
that,
watch it without her this season.
well,
The season that we stopped in.
yeah, this season's Why do you taste yesterday? I don't
I don't know
know. How
either.
high are you? Um, and no, I don't mean hi. How are you? I mean, oh, well, then I don't know. Um, did you brush your teeth today? Maybe that's why you taste
Not
yesterday.
yet.
Oh, you did. Okay, well then I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, Gilmore Girls is so good.
It's so good. And Lauren
Well,
Graham
and I
is
remember like
phenomenal.
my mom being 15 when she had me, like when that came out, because Lorelai was 15 when she has Rory. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, she's almost 16. And Yeah, yeah, exactly, Bree. The last couple of seasons overall aren't the best, but there's certain episodes that are phenomenal. But yeah, so when Gilmore Girls first came out, because I was like right around that same age range as Rory,
Mm-hmm.
when it came out. She might have been like a year or two ahead of me in school, but whatever. So it
Yeah.
like just hit really, strongly at home.
Right.
But like, yeah, the episode where like she stays out all night after the dance and like falls asleep in the barn or whatever with Dean.
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite episodes because that's the dumb shit that like my ass would do, right? As a
Right.
teenager. Like nothing like wrong. Like we didn't do anything but fell asleep together and then I get fucking right.
Yeah.
That was wrong. But anyway, you know what I'm saying.
Well, and I think too with the show, like it was first on the CW, which has changed drastically from when Gilmore Girls was on.
Yeah.
Um, but it was one of those shows where it was both comedic and heavy. Like they talked about a lot of
Yeah.
serious topics.
Yeah.
But they did it in a way that was like it was really natural. The fast talking
Yeah.
is something that they've been that's like a
Oh
hallmark
yeah.
of the show, but
Yeah.
it's something that's like super normal. Like pretty much everyone here at LTN is fast talkers. Um,
Right.
it incorporated a lot of wit and pop culture, which we hadn't really seen in a lot of shows as of that time. Like
Yeah.
Seinfeld, like yes, did wit and pop culture, but because they had that whole
It
laugh
wasn't
track aspect, everything was like
right.
pause and wait for the laugh. Whereas Gilmore
Yeah.
Girls was like constant movement. It's perfect for people with
Yeah.
ADHD
Well,
because
and
it's
I
just
think I
constant.
read because there were so many like lines of dialogue in every script that it was something along the lines where or the scripts were like 2 or 3 times longer than a standard script is for a
Hmm.
weekly episodic TV show like that because of the fast
Yeah,
talking and they just had more time to fill.
yeah,
Um
absolutely.
which I always thought was interesting.
And I mean, her and oh my god, I think of her name.
Alexis Bidel.
Yeah, they both like sort of pioneered that, and
Yeah.
I, I mean, you see it in a lot of their other work too,
Yeah,
because it is just such a
absolutely.
natural way of speaking. And it
Yeah.
was all, of course, like the writers' decisions to make them talk that fast. It wasn't like they came to it and like, it'd be great. But they
Right.
really put in the work over
He
those. I
just
think it went on
nailed
for
it.
9
Yeah.
seasons.
Yeah.
And then obviously it
Yeah.
came back for the Netflix A Year in the Life, which
Yeah.
only was 4 episodes. Broke my heart that it was only 4 episodes, I have to
I
say.
know. But
But
I did hear the rumor that they're
mhm,
making another one.
there's interest, like, because people want to know what
Yeah.
happens next.
Right.
Obviously, I don't want to
Right.
spoil it for anyone if you haven't seen A Year in the Life.
But
Um,
yeah, if
I
you're a
I don't
fan
want to
of
get
the
into it.
original show, because I know a lot of people were like not sure if they wanted to go down. It's like for
Yeah,
me, it's like the last like 2 episodes of Supernatural. I still haven't watched because I'm just not like if I
ready
don't
for it to be
watch
over.
them, it's not over.
Right, right.
Um, but it was kind of like that for a lot of people. But I loved it. Like I binged it.
I did
I think
too.
it came out at like midnight on whatever streaming service or
Yeah,
whatever, and because I'm pretty sure they released just all of 4 at once, or maybe 3 of the 4 at once, or whatever.
I think they did do all
But
4.
I think
I
they did
remember
all
binging it
4.
too.
But yeah, I remember binging it like
Yeah.
hardcore binging it, and then calling my mom in tears at the end.
The last 4 words, man. Which is actually what Amy Sherman Palladino, the writer of the show,
Yeah,
wanted the last 4 words to be originally. She
yeah,
wanted that to be how the story ended. Maybe not under those terms necessarily, but that's how it wanted to be. Um, don't watch them just end at, season 15,
maybe
episode 18 or
18. Good
episode
to know
18, 15, whatever.
because
The
I
last 2
watched
episodes
like
are fart noise.
yeah, they had split the last season up into the two. Well, because of COVID or whatever, like they had to stop filming. And so I watched the first half of season 15 when they released it, but I haven't watched the second half. So there's like
Yeah.
6 episodes I think I haven't seen. Um,
Mm.
yeah, but yeah, if I just don't acknowledge it, it's not.
No, it
It
didn't
never
happen.
happened, right? The
I
things that
have to say
happened
the
just never
hardest
happened.
thing about me, like, watching this and like Danger's making me watch this season with her. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that like a bad thing, but like we have to watch them
No.
together. And so we're
Yeah.
kind of been on pause because both of our lives have been so hectic. But like
Right.
all I get in my Facebook feed is like supernatural stuff.
Do
And so
you?
it's like spoilers for seasons ahead, and I'm like, keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. We do. We also set up a night where we can just binge a
We
bunch of
will.
the episodes because I know
Yeah.
we're getting to the part of the season that it's not going to be as like necessity wise for
Yeah.
me to
I
watch it
think
with
we're
you.
like
It's
more
just
than
there's so
halfway
many
through
good
this season.
episodes. Like
Yeah.
so we're on like what season 4, 5,
I
7,
no, we're
something.
further than that. Yeah.
I think it's
You're
7.
the, we're watching it on your Netflix, so I honestly don't know where we
Yeah.
stopped.
It's the Brie, it's the Leviathan season, which is
Yes.
my least favorite season overall, but looking like when I was looking at what episodes she could watch without me, because like we'd finish binging
Yeah.
it for whatever night, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, exactly,
Oh,
Brie,
Nicholas Foster.
exactly. But there's
Yeah.
so much that happens in that season that I'm like, nope, I want to relive this and I want to
Yeah.
rewatch this and I want to be there to experience it with you. Like, but there's so
Yeah.
much of the Leviathan season overall that I did not like.
Right.
Basically, the
The
Leviathans I don't
Leviathans.
like.
Yeah. Which is fair.
But
I mean, having been where we're
they're
at.
fucking creepy, man. Like
Yeah.
they freak me out a bit.
And
But yeah,
Bobby,
it's
just
we're getting to a point where it'll be less of a thing. But yeah, looking at the like or episode list, I was like, nope, that one I want to watch. And like, because you read enough of it when you've seen it. I've seen
you know
like
what it
these
is.
episodes
Yeah.
probably 7 times at least.
Right.
Because I start like I'll get through them all, and then I'll start back at the beginning and then get through them. So like the first few seasons I've seen 15
Yeah.
times. I feel it. But yeah, this one being my least favorite, but
We have to watch it together.
yeah,
So
we do.
that's where we're at.
But yeah, so anywho,
Well, I
awesome
think with
pick for
that,
the fun fatal. I love it.
thank you. I appreciate it. It was a good thought. I'm surprised I had it.
Right?
So thank you guys so much for joining us today for the Double D Estrogen Power Hour. Like we said, we are here every Tuesday at 6 Eastern, 5 Central, sometimes 6:30. Depends on how we feel. Depends on what's going on.
Right.
The other shows that we have on this wonderful channel, the boys and Bree have their show, Less Than Normal, on Wednesdays at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern. One of those two.
Something
You'll
like that.
fucking figure it out if you follow us in our
Stream
Discord.
Elements, are you having a stroke right
Stream
now?
Elements
What's
is
going
having
on?
a stroke.
Savage.
That's funny.
Okay.
Okay, so it's 7 Eastern, 6 Central. You know what? I knew it was one of them. And then on Thursdays, we try and play a community game night where we jump in and play like Jackbox or other things. And that is at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central,
Yeah.
typically. Looks like we'll also be having Marcus and Drew back again this week to join an LTN. That is awesome. I will not be there. Unfortunately, I have lacrosse practice. But I'll try and pop in if I can. And yeah, then also Danger and Chris and I, who you see in the chat as Finjif, we have our own podcast to talk about sports because we're all big sports heads. Well, specifically hockey, and that's
I
what
was
we
gonna
talk about
say
on the podcast.
it's more just hockey, but I mean we
Yeah.
do occasionally talk about it.
Well, we talk about other sports in our Discord, but we talk about hockey
Yes,
only on the
that's a good way to
podcast. So that's called Pucked Up, and we release that on Fridays. Don't ask me the
Yeah.
time because I don't know. It's kind of just when it happens.
Yeah, it's
But
whenever
that
I
is
think, yeah.
a podcast exclusive, so it is not here on Twitch. All of our other shows are there on Twitch. Wow, this is a really long outro. Holy shit. So many words.
8 a.m. Eastern.
Sure, that one. 8 a.m. Eastern. Wow, that's early. No wonder I don't see it until
Right?
like later
I'm
in the
never
day.
awake when I just look for the second message that it's up.
Yeah, same. All right. Well, having said all of that, which again was a lot, thank you guys so much for joining us. This has always been a lot of fun. I think Dave is going to be streaming some Atomic Heart after this. So
Yes.
if you want to
But
go
he
ahead
is
and
running
head
the
over to his
show,
channel.
so don't. Yeah. Let me do it this way. Hold on one second.
Night Bree, thank you so much for joining us. I love having you in chat.
Good night,
I
Bree.
love
Yes.
seeing your
Appreciate
name.
it. So I shouted out Dave. Go check out his channel if you're not already following him. Please do.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is gonna be streaming some Atomic Heart follow the.
Also, if you're not following our
Okay.
channel, the fuck is you doing? You just sat with
Yeah.
us for, 2.5 hours almost.
Right.
And you're not going to give us a
Right.
follow for all the fun, entertaining content we've given you tonight?
Yes. My
Come
dogs
on
are trying to
now.
bust through the door. So I will see you guys later. I'm going to go let them back in. Thank you for
And I will say good night, everyone. Remember, the world is your potato. Bye, everybody.